Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show live. That's right, we are live right now. Our entertainment lifestyle talk show series. We toast you tonight in our Las Vegas. Yes, Vegas, baby. Vegas mug here. This is really a cool one. Actually, this one, you guys send me things as well, but this one we picked up on our own when it was in a television shoot about a year and a half ago, pre-COVID, of course, in Vegas. We said this is snazzy and it just works out. We're including it here as one of the rotating mugs on our entertainment lifestyle talk show series. That's kind of old school, when you watch the old school talk shows, they'd have a mug of coffee or tea or sometimes something a little bit stronger. Good to have you with us. And I am your host, Jim Masters. And if this is your first time joining us, welcome. There's over 515 episodes of this series we've done since we launched the show, May 2020, with great guests that come in from all aspects of life, truly Hollywood, television, film, stage, culinary arts, sports, comedy, Broadway, inspiration, science, health and wellness, and so much more. Psychics. I mean, we've had it all and we have it all. Something for everybody. Variety is the spice of life. And as an entertainment lifestyle talk show series, that's what we do. Every night is something different. The topic is different. Our interaction is always the same. You guys can comment right now live during the show. You can also comment afterwards on our YouTube channel. Boy, we'd love that. Give this episode a like and also leave a comment on our YouTube channel as well. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, which is the channel you're watching right now, it's Jim Masters TV. We would love it if you subscribe. That helps us big time. And be sure, and you probably hear a million people say this all the time, click the notification bell so you never miss any of the content. That's right. You'll get a little alert email or buzzer or something that happens, just letting you know, hey, the show is on tonight and it's on at this time or that time. Because sometimes we do bonus shows. We do a lot of different times, for our shows. Usually it's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, but sometimes we do bonus shows and we do host levity chats and behind the scenes of the Jim Masters Show. We've done birthday parties, holiday episodes. We've done on location. I mean, it's amazing what we do. So think about this as an entertainment variety lifestyle talk show series. We do interviews as well, but we wouldn't necessarily say it's just an interview show because that's just, talk to the guest, in and out, done. We interact with our audience and we have a lot of bonus features and surprises too. So from Vegas, well, we're not in Vegas right now. We're on the East Coast. We're in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area along the southern New England coast between New York and Boston. And we toast everybody. How is everybody doing today? We've got an amazing guest. Yes, Phil Parlapiano is here, renowned musician, songwriter, vocalist with the Kiefer Sutherland band as well. Kiefer Sutherland, of course, is the spectacular actor, 24 and so much more. Maybe you didn't know he has a band. Yes, and Phil has been in that. But Phil has worked with, you name it. I mean, John Bon Jovi and Joan Baez and Jonas Brothers, and you pick it, and he's worked with them all, and he's an incredible talent. He's going to join us in just a second from Los Angeles, California. We're really excited to have him here on the Jim Masters Show live for a great conversation. And guess what, gang? He's going to play live. He's an extraordinary accordionist and is also keyboardist and just a multi-instrumentalist too, vocalist as well. He does it all, songwriter, and he's an amazing talent and a cool guy. We're so happy to have him here. Let's check in with some of our lovely viewers. We like to do that. We don't just jump always right into the interview. We want to check with the viewers. Those of you who are watching right now, I think it's very important to acknowledge the folks who watch and support our series, the Jim Masters Show Live. Toby's here from California and Encino. Good to see you, Toby. She says howdy. And she also says gratitude for Phil. Absolutely. Kenzie W is here. Kenzie, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. We're excited that you're here. You know what happens on our show? We say the show has a lot of light, love, and levity, Kenzie. That's something that I said about a year or so ago, and I said that too fast, and I said levity when I said light, love, and levity. So now you're a levity. As soon as you watch our show, you become a JMS levity. You're part of the levity family. Welcome to the show. Give us a subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would extra levity that. Good to see you and welcome. Linda Odell, good evening, Mr. Levity. Good evening, Levity. She is watching in FLA in Florida. Nice to see you as well, Linda. Hope you're doing well, Linda. Hope the family is well. Everybody's doing well. And yes, now it's time to share. You can take this YouTube episode link to the Jim Masters Show Live and You can share it on all your social media, everything you'd like to do. Good stuff. Lots of great, and you're glad to be here, Kenzie. Thank you very much. And Jill is here as well, Jill Harlow. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Jill, to the Jim Masters Show Live. Let us know if you're new to the show, because we have our regular fan base who watches all the time. They're the faithful Lovity audience. But if you're new, whether you're watching live or you watch this later on in the archives and you leave a comment on our YouTube channel, let us know where you're watching from. We love to know, what city, state, country, because we do reach an international. Did I say reach? We reach. I know it sounds like Porky Pig. We reach an international audience. Yes, we do. So we have folks that watch from all around the world. So let us know where you're watching from. Jill says, hello, everyone. And, it's kind of cool. As soon as our lovelies see somebody new, they go right in and they start welcoming them as well. So we welcome you. Our viewers welcome you, everybody that's here. Kenzie says, I'm glad to be here. And she's watching from Portland, Oregon. Cool. Kenzie loves the Vegas mug. So do I. Pretty spiffy. I usually get something everywhere I go, whether, it's for a professional reason or, I'm just, we're on family vacation or something. Yes, also worked with Rod Stewart, Linda Rodstadt. Yes, the list goes on and on and on for sure. We're going to talk about all of that. Good stuff. Would you like John Bon Jovi to appear with us too? Is that what you're hoping? Can you ring him up and see what he's doing? He's in Jersey right now, right? Merlin is here from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Phil, to Lovity Hall. You're now a Lovity. Yes, I already told him about it. He loves it. Lisa Rodrigo is watching. Happy Wednesday, all. Welcome, Phil. Welcome to all newcomers to the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show Series. Yes, John Prine as well. Yep, we're going to talk about that too. Welcome, Phil, to Lovity, the Lovity Show. Absolutely, you got it. Just some of the folks who are watching live here on our show right now. Good to have you guys here. Christine Clifton is in house and she's watching from North Carolina. And she says, hi, Jim Lovity. Friends, welcome, Phil, to JMS Live tonight. I'm checking in. Fantastic. Good to see you here, Christine, and welcome. We love it. And everybody that's watching, those who are commenting, those who are watching who are not commenting, perfectly fine. We realize not everybody comments, but you can comment live during the show if you want. Kathleen says, hi, Jim. Hope all is well. Hi, everyone. She's watching in New York City. Good to see you as well. Jill Harlow is watching in Connecticut. Good to see you in Connecticut as well. You just got through that nor'easter that passed through, right? And photographer 1992 watching from the UK. Yes, the United Kingdom. Good to see you. And the UK as well, where it's a little bit later. I know it's kind of late at night for you guys, but we're so happy that you're here from wherever you're watching, whatever time of day, morning or night it is. And those of you who also watch later on during the course of the show. We have some more folks that are chiming in here. Let's quickly see if we can get to them. Mary Bishop is here, I see as well. Juanita is here from South Africa. Joan Sando is here. Alessandra is here as well from North Carolina. Good to see you, Alessandra, and all the great folks that are watching. Joan Sando is here again. There's handsome Jim himself. Wow. Can we print that one out? Thank you, my friend Linda in Florida. Good evening from Merlin in Ontario, Canada as well. And everybody checking in. So yes, we've got music coming up for you. And we've got an amazing conversation with our very, very special guest. Again, folks, if you are familiar with him, we've got a really cool photo I want to show you here, actually, that I absolutely love. I think this is really cool. Look at that one, huh? That's an awesome, awesome shot. That shot is just fantastic. Phil is a versatile musician whose musical journey has followed several unique directions. Born in New York City, so he's originally an East Coaster. Raised by his musical parents, Phil learned to play the piano at age 4 from his talented grandmother. He also played mandolin and guitar. After playing the organ in his church, the road called him to leaving tour. He goes from church to touring with Joan Baez. Pretty spiffy, huh? He began his songwriting path as a founding member of the Brothers Figaro. Signed to Geffen Records after a bidding war, the seminal folk rock duo recorded their critically acclaimed album Gypsy Beat, published by BMG. After opening for luminaries such as John Haidt and Billy Bragg, the brothers, they moved on and continued playing together, backing folk legend John Prine. This led Phil to a 9-year stint with John, touring and recording CDs, including the Grammy-winning releases of The Missing Years and Fair and Square, as well as co-writing Leave the Lights On, too, for the CD Lost Dogs and Mixed Blessings. After this, Phil was asked to play on Rod Stewart's pivotal Unplugged and Seated album, after which that followed a 1.5-year touring stint with a rock icon. Phil was drafted into the smooth jazz world by Dave Koz. And that culminated in co-writing the Hanukkah song, 8 Candles, too. And that's featured on the Grammy-nominated December Makes Me Feel That Way. I have that in my collection. I have all this music we're talking about. His songs have been featured in TV shows, Friday Night Lights, Heroes, Alias, Felicity, Once Upon a Time, Chicago PD, Law & Order, and Shameless, and so much more. He continues to work in the studio and live as a first call accordionist and keyboardist with the likes of Joan Baez, John Bon Jovi, Carlene Carter, Lucinda Williams, Social Distortion, Elvis Costello, Tracy Chapman, the Dixie Chicks, Iron Butterfly, and many others as well. And you can see him in the TV shows Happily Divorced, The New Girl, Transparent, Lethal Weapon, and Barry, even in the blockbuster movie, the film Titanic, as an accordion player during the memorable scene in the lower decks when Kate and Leo are dancing. His work has also been featured on the soundtrack to the Oscar-winning film The Shape of Water and the comedies Picture Perfect 3 and War with Grandpa. He also, in 2019, joined the Kiefer Sutherland Band as well, and he continues to perform, and it's pretty darn amazing. Won't you join me in welcoming? Now, that's just the short list, folks. That's just the quick lists, giving you an idea, a little taste of some of the things our special guest has been involved in. But join me as we welcome him live from his home studio in Los Angeles, California. Phil, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here, my friend.
Hello. How you doing?
Fantastic. I love this shot. Tell us about this. Yeah, that's an awesome one too. Tell us about this shot, Phil.
Oh, my friend Frank Drennan, who's a great singer-songwriter with a band called Dead Rock West out here. And he's an amazing photographer as well. So we went in one day, his friend had a studio, and he said, "Hey, come in, I'll take a picture." And he took this picture pretty fast. Only took about one roll or whatever you call it these days. So 25 shots or something. And this was one of the first pictures he took. It came out great. So
it sure did. Yeah. It's like a signature picture as well.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, my friend from LA. You're originally an East Coast kid, and tell us, before we talk about some of the early inspirations for you, how have you been doing during the course of all this? You were with Kiefer's band, right? When COVID sort of hit and then everything sort of paused back in March of 2020. Tell us about some of that.
Yes. Well, we had just come back from Europe in February, actually, the start of February. In fact, we're maybe 1 week away from a real problem of, like where they were starting to search everybody and, take everybody and question them. We slipped in, came back, we started to work on a new record, and then all of COVID hit, so all the dates were shut off. We did manage to work on some demos and some new records, and I think there's some things coming out soon. But we ended up practicing. I'm sure you've heard this a few times, but for musicians, the idea of staying at home and just in your studio is not really a problem for the most part. I got a lot of work done, and I did a lot of organization of all my books for the last 20 years,
cleaning closets and record collections and baking bread and
exactly. And I had my mother just passed away, strangely enough, right before the pandemic. So I was able to see her and have the proper funeral and all that, because if it had been like 3 weeks later, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
But she was very up there in years. And she had a house, and we had to go through that and clean it out. So it actually there was a lot of time to do things, and that was kind of nice. And as far as recording goes, I mean, I did tracks with Los Lobos. They sent them over to me. I did tracks with quite a few other people, Timothy B. Smith, and people would throw throw tracks at me, and I was able to do them in my studio here at home. And sometimes I went to a studio, but it was after a few weeks or a few months, and then we're all masked and everything, and we're all very careful, and I've been very careful about the COVID thing. Unfortunately, about a month and a half ago, I was at a rehearsal with a bunch of non-vaccinated people, and they gave it to me. So I actually yes, they did. I'm vaccinated and everything, but I did get it. And it was, the hardest part was just having to, at this point, just cancel everything on my books for 3 weeks and stay home, and very tired. Thank you about my mother.
What was it like? Knock on wood, I haven't had it, though I am double vaccinated, and everybody around me, the family, friends are, but still you can get it. It's very relentless, this Delta variant. What was it like? How did you know? What were the symptoms? What was the feeling like? I
will tell you, it was very insidious, because I actually, after I found out that a bunch of people were not vaccinated, I got a test and I came out negative. And so I go, great. I dodged a bullet. Well, I'm going to be more careful in the future. Now, every time I go for something new, I have to ask, are you vaccinated? Do you not believe in vaccination? Because I'm going to stay home otherwise. I hate to do that. As musicians, we're taught you take work no matter what, even if they go, you're going to be shot at while you're playing. It's like, okay, I'll do it,
Well, because if you have the mask on, that's really helping them, but they need the mask on. So it helps you. So if you're working around people who don't have the mask on, and
boom. I had the mask on, and what it was like was after I tested negative, the next day I started to feel really kind of like lightheaded and cloudy, kind of like a regular flu. And I think because I was vaccinated, I described it to somebody, it was like a regular flu, except for maybe 15% of it, it's kind of not feeling very much in, but I had no lung symptoms, no nasal symptoms, anything like that. And
no stomach, nothing.
It was like a regular flu, like 15% of a regular flu, but over a long period of time.
Like coming out of anesthesia.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like that. And I mean, it literally took 3 weeks before I started feeling, totally normal.
So it went like this.
Yes.
And then just sort of.
Yeah, just kind of, and that's how I would describe it. And I say, I'm vaccinated. I'm going to get the booster, very soon, obviously before I leave to go out. And I'm very much into,
right?
I'm very much into people getting vaccinated. And at this point, I'm having a little trouble understanding why people would not. So, that's all I'm going to say. Cause I know there are people out there, the good people that don't believe in it for whatever reason. And, I'm not going to try to understand it, but I just say for myself and for everybody around, it's like, we should think about other people besides our, we're doing it for them too. This is a community we live in. This is one of the things I know you deal with people that are life changers, or, people that talk about inspiring, that the one thing that we all forget is that we're all in this world together, and we're all in this country together, especially this country, and we're all in the world together. We're really no different than anybody else. We're all humans, and people forget that because they separated. We all know why. If you've studied media at all, the media is set to pit people against each other. Somehow this makes them unhappy, and then they buy more things. I hate to say it so succinctly, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Living in crazy times.
Yes,
We're definitely
we are,
living in really ever since 9/11. It's just been a very odd time.
I agree. I agree.
The 2000s and 2010s and now 2020s are a little interesting versus the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Oh yes. I kind of knew too when I was growing up. I have no idea why, but I knew that things would change around the year 2000. A lot of that was because it was such a big number, when you're growing up. And it's
.com bubble too.
Yes.
And
I just knew things would change, and I was pretty accurate about it. It is changed. Yeah. The 70s and 80s we'll never see that kind of feeling again. Or, I mean, hopefully it would be nice. Hopefully we'll have some kind of feeling like that, even better, like you said, love. And
we talk about that a lot on the show. I said the show has a lot of light, love, levity, and I said it too fast, and out came the word levity, which wasn't a mistake. We we've been talking a lot too about how we've been able to take this time of the great pause of reflection with all the horror and everything else that we've seen happening at the same time and sort of create something special from it. Sort of self-reflection and rebooting and sort of coming out of the gate, maybe rising from the ashes a little more kinder, empathetic, more unified, less divisive, and creative and collaborative. What are some of those teachable moments that you learned, that Phil learned about himself during this time while you were cleaning the closets and organizing the music collection and baking the bread? How about some things you reassessed as far as what has been done thus far and what you'd like to do going forward? Because a lot of people have been using this time to do that.
I saw that. I luckily about 3 or 4 years ago, I was on a path of self-discovery. I have been ever since I've been very young. Just one of these things. Some people are, some people, yeah. And so, in the last 3 or 4 years, I read, The Power of Now and The Law of Attraction. And, some of these books are considered, pop psychology. I don't think The Power of Now is pop psychology whatsoever.
No. And emotional intelligence is important.
Those things, some things about habits and then things about organizing. It was a bullet point note-taking book that I read, which was so informative. And it also just led me to this idea that, we have so much in brain plasticity, which means that, which means that everybody goes around, especially, in your youth, you're like, well, this is just the way I am. And maybe I could learn something new, but I'm not going to change because, and we're finding that's not true at all.
Right.
You can change. You can be, look at people who are addicts, if they really, it's hard to do, but you can change your brain into not being an addict. Mm-hmm. You can change your brain. I was a very negative person growing up, all up until I was, until I was about 50 years old. And then I realized that the negativity wasn't getting me anywhere. The only thing the negativity does is it kind of puts a little edge on your sense of humor, admittedly, because it's kind of funny.
It's witty, it's dry.
Yes, right.
Especially you came from New York, so that's an automatically inbred way of a quick quip and dry. Where do you think the negativity was coming from? Were you hard on yourself?
I was very hard on myself. Yeah. It's very hard on myself. I wasn't really happy with who I was as a person. And, obviously after I reevaluated it and thought about these things, especially with The Power Now, it's like, if you're not happy with this moment, you just lost it. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And you spend a whole life not being happy with the moment. You have an unhappy life, and especially seeing my mom and another friend of mine, Eric Lowen, who had died from ALS. And seeing them in their stages of getting worse and worse and being basically preparing to die, which is what they were doing. Right. I realized that, life is fleeting. We have to appreciate every moment. My mom was, sometimes she didn't even realize how much she had missed by being unhappy and thinking, darn, if only I had a bigger house, I would be happy. If only, I had more money in the bank. And my mom would do this. And she didn't even really believe that because she was forward thinking too, but she had been brainwashed by what was going on. And understandably so. There's so many things coming at you that say, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And I took it in, I grew up in Los Angeles. I was born in New York City, but we moved here very, very early on. I grew up in the Valley, and the Valley was very competitive in terms of, it was all about sports, And so I played sports because you had to, because if you didn't play sports, you just like weren't anything. You didn't register at all, but I wasn't very good at it. And so I wasn't very good at it. So I was kind of, always less than, and I think that contributed to it. Now, of course, I realized that even at an early age, it was up to me to feel good about myself. But do you know that at the age of 12? Do you? Can you actually go, no, I like bowling and weird 50s music, and you're not going to change me from thinking that,
I played baseball, but I also was on the bowling team in high school in New York.
I love bowling. So
and tennis, and it's and music as well. So for little Phil,
Yes.
when did you pick up that instrument? What was it? Was it in school? And I know your grandmother an influence in your life
Oh
as well,
yes.
huh?
I will tell you, there are pictures of me when I was 2 playing the piano, and I was, doing the 2-year-old banging on it, but picking out little things. My grandmother would tell me I was picking out little things. So by the time I was about 3 or 4, she was showing me things on the piano, and she was also teaching me how to read music. So when I went to uh, after kindergarten, I went to actually after nursery school, I went to kindergarten. We went to a parochial school, which was a religious school. And every Wednesday we had church service and Wednesday morning, and the kindergartners are sat in the pews, like right next to Mrs. White, the organist. And so it was a very much organ. I have one right here, like a B3, a Hammond B3. And I could watch her play. I was right in the corner. I always sat right in the corner. I watched her play. And I remember being just barely 5. I remember I just turned 5 years old and thinking that is the coolest thing ever. That organ, I want to play that. Right.
Yeah.
And when I had to wait till I was 7 because she didn't teach lessons unless you were 7 years old, but I fully knew how to play the piano by the time I studied with her. And so I did
7.
Yeah.
And that was from 7 up.
Yeah. 7
Wow,
up
early.
But I wasn't one of those competitive.
Yeah, no.
I didn't do all the competitions.
Yeah,
I wasn't a
no.
very good. I tell people I didn't really practice that much. It's just I had a natural curiosity. I like to make up melodies. I did learn how to read. I did know how to do all those things.
Were you
And
playing by ear as well?
I was playing by ear as well. But I did a little combination of both.
But you were fascinated by
Yeah.
that
Oh yeah,
instrument, huh?
I was
Yeah.
fascinated by the piano. And then my grandmother would always show me other things, but she was limited in her, and she just kind of knew how to play. But when I went through all my mom's stuff, I found a bunch of old things that my grandmother had written out, and she actually had written a few songs as well. And I came from her brother-in-law was a musical director at NBC, and so he was actually a pretty good writer. He had had his own record company. He used to do jingles. He did coffee jingles and things like this. We have my grandmother and my second aunt, or my great aunt. And he was actually, the strange things we just saw, my wife and just saw him. He was in the original, well, not the original version, but the second version of A Star Is Born as the musical director of Judy Garland and her big role. You could see him in the front, like conducting the orchestra.
Right.
It was really cool. So I was like, I never realized, because everybody asks, are you from a musical family? And I always say no, because my dad was, a stockbroker. My mom was, worked at a bank. But when I forget that my grandmother was always played. My mom used to sing a few Rodgers and Hammerstein songs, and she would make me accompany her. And my dad would play the violin. I would accompany him. And we didn't really have a family band, but we had more of a family band than a lot of other people that I know growing up. At one time, that was very common. I don't know.
Yes.
If, it was everybody had a family band.
They had a family band, exactly. Yeah. I would think now, looking back, my very first instrument that I got was an organ. Not the big, church organs, but the ones that you would get when you were a kid, and
you had the little cords on the one side.
Yeah, it was on the it was on a stand.
Yes,
and I don't know if it came out of the Sears Wish book or something.
Yes,
but it
I know
was, and
about,
we would play that all the time, and then that broke, and we got a new one, and that was, and then guitar and other things, the toy xylophone and all the different things like that. But the organ was first, and then around 13. We went into violin, which was kind of cool to try to, toy with that. But
that's a hard one.
The violin is
a hard one.
Yeah, it's a little bit
sounds bad for a long time.
Is it hard on the one playing, or those who are listening and locking the doors and pulling down the shades and shutting the windows?
It's good if you do that in private. Yeah, exactly.
So there's this transition from church to touring with Joan Baez. Tell us about that. That's an incredible.
I will tell you, because what was happening was all along, I think when I was about 11 years old, I discovered that there was sheet music for popular songs. I mean, I didn't know about this. I thought sheet music was only for classical pieces. And so there was a copy of the Beatles song, Let It Be. And I got the music and I said, man, because I got to find some guys to play this with. So I found 3 other guitar players, because that's all and they all played classical guitar. And we played the song for a school project or something like that. And we weren't very good, but it got me hooked. And then I started a band from the time, I was 11 years old. And by the time I was 12, we played at Sunday school. We played, which not many people know this, but there is a Christian version of Blowing in the Wind. Okay. The Bob Dylan song. There's a Bob Dylan song. Yes. With Christian lyrics. The answer, my friend, is found in the Lord. It's found in the word of the Lord Jesus Christ. Swear to God. Wow. And not many people remember that, but it actually did happen.
Yeah. I thought I would have known that. I interviewed Mary Travers on PBS and Peter and Paul separately. I never knew about that. That is cool.
I don't know if it was just in Los Angeles or what, but that was the first song I played in front of people. And once again, I had electric guitar. My mom had said, I'll buy you this electric guitar. I had to pay her back, or I had to, do work around the house.
Yeah.
And an amp and
chores. They call those things chores. Yes, that's a word that you don't hear anymore. Does anybody even do that? They're all in their houses.
They do. Actually, I have a friend who has 2 daughters. He doesn't give them chores, but he actually just says, I will pay you $1 if you do the dishes, Monday and Tuesday. And then, or I think it's more than that, or $1 a day, and so they go, okay. So it's not chores. So they don't just it is chores, but they get paid for each chore.
Yeah, right.
And they actually came out very good. They're very, they understand the value of $1, which is what
How
the problem.
Much did you get? 50 cents at the end of the week?
It was very, very little. And then my grandmother, who I loved, she had her Social Security check and she'd like slip me $1. It's like, here's $1.
And that was a big thing.
Yeah, so go buy I'd buy a 45 for I think they were like 49 cents. Yeah, 59 cents.
That is funny. Wow.
So after I got my feet wet with that, then I did all the normal things. I went and had a high school band where we played, proms and not weddings, but parties for people at school. And then, I got older and I started an original band. It was very much like Queen or Genesis and Yes, we're like a prog rock band. And we had like, capes. I wore a cape, and had really super long hair, and it was fun. It's fun. And we had a manager who had managed us. Her name was Maria, and the band broke up. And about I don't know, a few months after that, she calls me up and she says, hey, I'm in an apartment complex, and this woman here is the road manager for Joan Baez, and their keyboard player quit. Would you be interested in going on tour with them? And I thought, oh, yeah, I can't do that. Because I was just, I was young. I was just playing weddings. I was playing parties. I didn't feel capable to do that. But for some reason, I had a girlfriend at the time. She goes, oh, just call back. Just call back. Find out what it is.
Yeah.
Like, thank God she said that, because I did. And I called back, and this person was really nice. And they said, well, come down, because we're going to leave in 3 days. So you got the gig. All we want to do is make sure that you're okay. So come on down and play with the guys. Wow. I played with the guys. They gave me approval. 2 days later, I was on a plane for my first time in my life. It was only like barely 22, going to Montreal and playing a huge theater with, a folk legend. She was, she's amazing, playing piano and synthesizer. They bought a synthesizer for me, a Prophet.
Yes,
that's what it was. Right. Yes.
Right.
I was happier than it could be, but I was nervous. You all get out. You could not believe it. I was so nervous.
You had to be pinching yourself, huh? It was.
And
she was probably very encouraging, I would imagine.
She was. Since I was a young one, she would take me like before the show. She would like take me in her dressing room, and we'd talk, and she'd find out about me. And I told her about some of my inferiority complex. And when she told me, she goes, oh, Phil, you should really consider going to therapy. I've been doing it for 20 years. That's what she said to me. And I thought, okay. And I did later. And it was great. I'm anybody who has any kind of like inquisitive mind needs to go to therapy. because the world's it's too big to understand on your own. It really is.
Right. A lot of people do try to do that, and it is very you reach out, it's
Yeah.
not it's not weak, you're not vulnerable to reach
No,
out. It's
no, no.
important. It's really important to reach out. You also there was this group here.
Oh, yeah,
I
Brothers
was mentioned.
Figaro.
Yes, tell us about that, the formation of that.
Oh, it was great. The guy on my what would that be? My left, that's Bill. He was the main songwriter, and we had known each other since we were 12 years old.
Wow.
And the guy in the back, Scott, is a guy right in the middle. He was our drummer, and we'd known him from college. And then the other guy was just the engineer. I don't know him anymore. I don't remember his name. But we had
an integral part of the scene that day.
Yes, he was. We actually did that record in Burlington, Vermont. And that the White Crow Studios has the greatest thing about the White Crow Studios is that they actually recorded the Bernie Sanders folk record. Yeah, yes, he has a folk record, and they recorded it at the studio. Of course, we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
But we got a record deal completely by accident. Bill and I had been playing together for years and years and years, and no one would even pay attention to us. We used to play a place called Manam Wong's out here, and we were lucky if we get our girlfriends and a few of their friends to come, right? And so then I finally hooked up with this guy. His name was Tim Scott, and he was in a band called not the Stray Cats, the Rockettes from New York.
Yeah,
Levi and the Rockettes. And he came out here to be a pop star, and he had gotten signed with Geffen Records. And so I was in his band, and he needed a drummer and a bass player. And I go, we'll get my friend Bill and Scott to play. And so we all became his band. And so we were going pretty well. And then one day he broke up the band because his old friend Smutty from the Rockettes came, and he wanted to start a band with him and Chalo from the Cruzados. And they started this, folkabilly band. And they were going to play this place, the local place called the Molly Malone's. And Molly Malone's it only had Irish music before. It just had a little bar and a little PA. And he goes, we're going to play there. He goes, but the PA is not good enough. He goes, you have a PA. If you bring your PA and set it up, you can open for us.
Wow.
And I go, okay. So we went and we opened up, and no one came as usual. I don't know if anybody knows about the Los Angeles scene. It's always been that way. Unless you're a really big band or you're really aggressive. Like in that day, punk was big. It was 1988 and punk was still big. Unless you're like that, you don't really get a crowd. So no one came, but the manager of that band, they were called the Javelinas. The manager of the Javelinas really pushed and asked people to come. And then by 3 weeks, the place was packed. And then by 4 weeks, it was starting to be celebrities. It would be, like Julian Lennon would show up, and, a bunch of kind of like Kiefer, a lot of kids of celebrities would be there.
Right.
I remember Richard Basehart's daughter came and sat in with us once. I remember that's really funny. So we would play, and then the Javelinas would play, and then we'd have a jam session afterwards, wherever we'd have people come up. Well, they brought record company people because we didn't know anybody. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. Even all the time we were doing, we didn't know anybody. And they would bring record company people, and they were doing the Hollywood thing where they were playing later and later and later, and we would play around 10. And so what would happen is the record company people would come around 9:30, and they'd see us. They go, "Oh, I love your band, the Javelinas," and which made their manager very, very upset. But what it did was get us our own fans, and then through that, they got a record deal on Aristar, I can't remember, Asylum, Elektra, and then we got a deal. We had 3 labels looking at us, A&M and Capitol and Geffen, and the money kept going up and up, and Bill and I were just in amazement, going, "Is this really happening?" We basically had started this, and I'll tell you a little bit about the figure why we're wearing what we did. We were kind of so shy that we thought we were sitting back here in this very studio. We kind of came up with we're going to be this whole persona, because we had read this thing. I don't know if you read Earth, Wind and Fire, like Maurice White, I think, had in a dream, he sketched out everybody's costume, and he had characters for everybody in Earth, Wind and Fire before he even got the guys in the band.
Oh yeah.
It was very thought out. And so we read about that and I go, let's do that too. So we like came up with characters. I was Giuseppe. He was Luigi. Guido was the drummer. He was our cousin, you know, and we were brothers and we came here from Italy and we didn't speak English. And so we went and did these shows and we had fake Italian accents. We acted like we didn't speak English, but then we used these songs that we had left over from before other bands and we just acousticized them. It was all acoustic. I played the acoustic 12 string. He played acoustic guitar. We just had a tiny drum set and I played accordion and the mandolin. And we had, unbeknownst to us, that this had become very kind of like trendy. It wasn't really trendy when we started, but it started becoming quickly trendy to eschew all the things from the 80s, meaning the big guitars, you know, big fuzz guitar and the big horrible drum, you know, those drum, that drum. Yes.
You hear that a lot today.
Oh God. And it's like,
you hear it in TV commercials, show themes and everything. I'm like, oh my God.
But I'm here to tell you that it sounds better now than it did back then.
Because then it was so raw and
it didn't, I mean, you know, I can listen to a little bit of 80s music, but by and large, it was not my cup of tea. So except for people like, of course, you know, Tom Petty, who just like did the same thing he always did, Springsteen and, you know, REM. We loved REM. We were big fans. Yeah. So, but REM was kind of, they played a lot of acoustic instruments. So we did this acoustic thing. We got signed. We did a deal. We were get signed with this guy and he was going to produce us. He had produced Robert Plant. He worked in this studio out in Wales called, I can't remember the name of it. It was a big studio in Wales. Yeah. And so we go, we're going to go to Wales. And then he said, we can't go to Wales for tax reasons. And so we go, well, we want to get out of Los Angeles. We want to get the farthest we can to Los Angeles. And the farthest we could get, we looked on a map and we said, Burlington, Vermont. I swear to God, that's where we found a studio.
It was either that or Montpelier.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Or Montpelier. Yeah, exactly. There are, you know, we could have gone to Maine, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? But we ended up there and it was a very weird experience and we would, the way you saw us on that, we would dress that way and we would go out and it was 1989. Yes, like that. And people go, yeah, he goes, it's not Halloween yet, you know.
They thought you were taking on characters.
Yes. And then they said, are you guys in a cult or something? That was the other thing. So we
follow us and find out.
Yes, we would say. And it was great because we had the last laugh. It's like all my friends were all doing, you know, the big hair, big old hair and, you know, little ponytails and wearing new wave clothes and not getting record deals. And here we were doing the weirdest thing that we could think of doing and we got a record deal. So we're very happy. We're very pleased.
Oh yeah. That's really incredible.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that guy.
Yeah. Huh?
That was a few years later after the band broke up.
It's Rod Stewart we're looking at.
Yes. That was crazily enough. That was on our plane. We had it 747. You know, it's so crazy. It was a 747 from one of the casinos used to run it. I can't remember which one. They had 7 of them. Most of them were there for taking baseball teams to shows. Yes.
Right.
To games. And every once in a while, if they had one left over, they would lease it to a rock band. And they much preferred, we talked to them, they much preferred the rock band because they said the baseball teams would wreck the place.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah. Just with the champagne bottles alone.
Yeah, the testosterone and all. We had four flight attendants, each one more beautiful than the next. I have to say that.
Yeah.
And they complained about the baseball guys too. They go, you don't want to hear about that.
What was it like working with Rod Stewart? Another phenomenal opportunity, huh?
Well, you know, it's funny because it was the first time I ever heard mandolin on a song was Maggie May. And so I had a friend who was playing with Rod, and I wouldn't say I was envious, but I would say that I was like my friend Don Teschner, who I still know. He was playing mandolin and guitar and a few other things, and we wouldn't really talk that much. And one day, out of the blue, he calls me. He goes, "Yeah, you know, it's like I was talking to Rod, and he's doing this thing, an unplugged thing, and he wants 2 mandolin players, but he wants a mandolin player and maybe someone to play something else." And I said, I talked about you, and I said, you played accordion, and he goes, "Yeah, bring him down." And I go, "Geez, all right." So I went down there, and he wasn't there, and we just practiced the band for about a day or two. And one of the highlights of that was that Steve Perry from Journey was in the other studio, and he came and he heard that we were rehearsing. So he would come and sing Maggie May with us, which was kind of a strange thing. Wow. And yeah. And so finally Rod comes the third day, and he definitely looks me up and down, you know. Okay. Who is this guy? Is he okay? You know, it's like,
what's his story?
He'd say things like, is he good or is he useless? That's what it is like. It's useless. Very English, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we played. I remember the first time we did Maggie May, and we got to the mandolin solo, and he sang, Maggie, I wish I never seen your face. And I just about fainted, because I thought, this is one of those moments in your life where it's like, oh my God, I finally have achieved a goal. You know, it's like, boom. It was like, right. Just from hearing him sing that. And I played for 3 or 4 more days, and they never told me I got the gig until Ron Wood came, and Ron Wood was right in front of me. I sat right in back of Rod was on this side and Ron was back, and I was like behind them in the center. And Ron played, and he played a Maggie May and a few other songs. And there was one moment where Rod turned around to Rod turned around to Ron, and he looked at me, and he's like, he gave a look like, Ron, what do you think? You know, is this guy good or is he useless? I mean, it was exactly what it was, right? And Ron Wood gave the Rod like, yeah, no, right. He did that, thumbs up, and it was like, that was it. He goes, okay, you're in. You know, it was. I swear to God, I wouldn't have believed that if I hadn't seen it. Yeah,
that's incredible, huh?
Yeah.
Gee, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that you've had an opportunity to work with, but you know, in addition to that, you've also had an opportunity, even for yourself individually, to work on some amazing things. Now, I've mentioned working with Dave Koz too.
Oh yeah,
and co-writing the Hanukkah song, which you hear, you know, played all over between the holidays. You know, the Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's time. From that CD, December Makes Me Feel This Way. What was it like working with Dave and going into the world of smooth jazz?
Well, you know, when I was growing up, it was very a jazz oriented city as far as music goes. I would say that as a player growing up in the 70s and even the 80s, most keyboard players were jazz oriented.
Yeah.
And I was not really jazz oriented. And to tell you the truth, I like jazz. I like, you know, old jazz, Miles and, you know, Coltrane, all that, you know, the usual Herbie Hancock, all the,
Miles Davis.
Yes. But as far as the smooth jazz, I thought it was a little bit, okay, you know, kind of like
pedestrian or.
Yeah, maybe, you know, I was a little critical of it. I'd known Dave for a long time, because Dave, he was in the opposing wedding band that I was in. We were all in a wedding band, and Dave was the other wedding band that did really well. They were called Sound of Ice. And so we always knew about Dave, but I never knew him. And one day he calls me and he goes, because Greg Leese gave me, you know, I don't know if you know Greg Leese is amazing pedal steel and guitar player in Los Angeles, session guy. And he had played on his record, which was called Off the Beaten Path. And Dave wanted to do something that wasn't smooth jazz. It was kind of a little bit more, because he had heard about this Americana organic music, and he heard that I was one of the guys, and my friend Bruce Watson, who now plays with Foreigner, and a few other guys, Doug Pettibone, that we were kind of the guys that play that kind of music. So he wanted us in his band. And I was like, I don't know, Dave, it's not really my music. And he goes, oh, please do it. And he didn't beg me, but he really asked me to play. And I said, okay, I'll do it, but under 2 conditions. I'm not going to play any syncopations, and I'm not going to play any bell sounds on the D50. And for people to understand, that was a big part of smooth jazz, was this little ding doo 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 on the top, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah, sure.
I think I ended up playing some bell sounds, but yeah, because he was such a nice guy. We just got along so well, and we both grew up in Valley. He actually went to Granada High. No, he didn't go to Granada. He went to the high school on Ventura with Lisa Kudrow was his classmate. And he was just he was one of the most professional people and one of the nicest guys I've ever met and ever worked for. It was such a pleasure. He was going to do a Christmas record. And he said, do you want to write? And I went up to Sausalito, got a ticket on the bridge over the Oakland Bridge, which is really bad. I got a ticket because I was speeding. And then I went out to his house and we wrote that song in about 20 minutes, and it ended up on the record. And I'm really happy. It was like you said, it's played all the time.
So do you like some of the Spyro Gyras and Tom Scott and some of the others, Dave Grusin, David Benoit, some of that stuff as well?
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting David Benoit, another really nice guy. And these
Yeah.
guys are all amazing technicians. Everybody you've mentioned. Tom Scott, I grew up, my mom was, she was in an office with Nathan Scott. And my mom would always go, this guy, Nathan Scott, he says she used to do the music for Lassie, the TV show.
Right.
And he'd always talk about his son. His son is Tom Scott. And I had the record where I think it's called Hep Cats or something like that, where like Tom Cats, that's what it was called. And it was like a picture of all the guys in the band, like looking like cats. And I'd had that. I go, Tom Scott, you mean the saxophone player? And it's like, yeah. He's like, oh my God. Yeah, of course I know who he is. Love that stuff. Once again, I'm kind of a purist. I like especially all the early, Grover Washingtons, Gato Barberetti. These were like smooth jazz, like starting out, just like disco starting out was, Kool and the Gang and, a few other bands. It was all beautiful because it was, it was a new thing. It was like, okay, we're going to take these elements. And I mean, I grew up, my friend and I, Bill and I were like, we loved Chick Corea. We're like, Chick Corea is awesome. The problem was I couldn't play that stuff.
Yeah.
So I always felt like, I'd run into a keyboard player and they were so cocky because they'd be like, like doing this thing. And I'm like, dude, I could do about half speed.
Chopsticks.
Chopsticks of jazz. Yeah. And I've been practicing. I've been working on jazz for my whole life. I'm not a jazz guy, but I just am intrigued by the whole, the chords and, and things. So I work on it, but I'm never going to be a jazz guy, and that's okay. Because I realize I do what I do, and that's all right. Yeah. There are so many jazz guys that are just amazing.
Peter White, the guitarist.
Yes.
Peter White.
He plays the accordion as well, by the way.
That's right. You don't really think of that, but he does.
Yes. Because he went on tour with Dave, and he would play the accordion. He would play my accordion parts when they did the Hanukkah song. He would play the accordion on that.
A couple of people mentioned Kenny G too, that they like Kenny.
Yeah. Kenny. Once again, these guys are masters. No, I didn't. I worked with Dave. It was kind of like Dave or Kenny,
Yeah. Right,
but
exactly.
I didn't really stay in it too much because for the most part, I liked it. And I liked the rock part of it. We used to do a killer Brown Sugar, some Rolling Stones. We did some other things that were like more rocky. But then, of course, he realized that his crowd was a little more on the jazz end. And so he got all his guys back that did jazz. And that's the thing that the jazz field is very like, they like to be with themselves. I'm not saying they're cliquey or anything like that, but you're all speaking the same language, and I was always felt.
Actually, I interviewed Dave Cause. David Benoit. I met very nice guys.
Amazing.
I interviewed a few years back Chris Bodie.
Oh yeah,
really
another
nice
great
guy.
one. Yes, another guy. Yes,
very talented guy. Just very like true to what he does with the trumpet, and just really. And very affable, with his fans and everything, which is really, really cool.
They've all been incredibly successful.
Yeah.
So
isn't that something? Yeah.
Yes. I know. One of the things David Benoit did, he called me for when there was he actually picked up the Peanuts series, right? After the original guy stopped, and he would do Vince Guaraldi.
That's right. Yeah. The Charlie Brown theme. Yeah.
Right. So
Peanuts,
Dave Benoit picked up a bunch of the TV stuff that still is out. And he had this one where Snoopy was the Pied Piper to get all the rats out of the city, but he played accordion. And so he called me. He said, "You're going to be Snoopy." And I was actually pretty impressed by that too, just being Snoopy. So every time Snoopy played, it was me playing the accordion.
And then, of course, John Prine.
Oh no, John. Bless his soul. Horrible.
We just lost him recently.
Of COVID. Yes.
Related.
And, yes.
How do you, for those who know of him, how do you describe him, and what was that opportunity to work with him like for you, Phil?
Well, I would describe him in the way that I did have an opportunity when many years ago I was playing a show and Springsteen was there, and I came up to Springsteen because he had sang on the record, and I go, I play regularly with John Prine. We're the touring band. And I just wanted to say hello. And he goes, John Prine is the great American songwriter. is what he said unequivocally. And so I kind of think of him that way. He was inspiration to me. The he his music and who he was as a person, it was completely, there was no difference. And I'm saying that because we're all in the entertainment business, and I'm sure you've seen it, that people have like their stage persona,
Two
and then they
different
have
versions. Yeah.
yes, two different versions, almost like sometimes it's really split. Sometimes it's not even
They're
the
not
same.
even, yeah.
They're not even related. And
One's nice and not so nice, the
yes.
other one.
And this guy just like to talk to him was to see him on stage. He didn't do anything different. And Bill and I both played with him. And the way I'll tell you how I met him, and I was working with Howie Epstein. Howie Epstein was the old bass player for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And he had his girlfriend at the time, Carlene Carter, was making a record, and she needed an accordion. So they called me. So I came down there, and Howie's like, this is good. And I ended up playing on 5 or 6 songs on that, even though I was only supposed to play one, because Howie and I resonated together. It's something I used to tell people that, they're trying to get into the business. It's not just about schmoozing. It's like, you actually have to have something in common. There has to be some kind of thing that, like, they want to talk to you, you want to talk to them.
And it's almost like an unspoken language. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that scientists say it might be even pheromones. It's like you smell the right way. It's crazy to say, but yeah. So we got along really well. I used to go over his house in Beverly Hills, right over the hills. He used to call me over Coldwater. He used to literally call me at midnight. He'd go, "Hey, Phil, you want to do a track?" I go, sure. I go down there and we like do a track. We'd end up, till about 4:00 in the morning doing stuff. And that's how we did. So after he did that, he goes, "I'm going to work with this writer, John Prine. You ever heard of him?" And I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Do you want to play on some songs?" I go, "Oh yeah, of course I do." And so I came down there, and John was there, and there was a song called All the Best. And this was the first song I played, and he played it for me there he is, John. John. I made him buy that guitar.
Really?
Yeah, because he had this old Martin, and it at the time we were trying to make the band sound like a little bit better for a whole band. And I said, it sounds really good when you're by yourself, but we need something like a Gibson, like one of those. He goes, like those Everly Brothers Gibsons. I go, yeah. And he goes, so then he went and bought that like the next day. I remember that.
Wow.
It really did sound good. Although he really sounded great on his old Martin. So it's like they were both. I mean, he was so self-taught. When he played the song All the Best for me, and I've told this story before, but the lyrics go, well, I know, you say you drive a Chevy. No, what's that second verse where he talks about the Christmas tree? He goes, you put the Christmas tree, geez, I knew the lyrics so well. Like the other times I said, basically he's talking. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Basically he's talking about, I know what love was like. I threw, you decorate the tree, something about being Christmas, and it's decorate the tree, and then you throw it in the yard. It's like that. From one line, I think you throw it in the yard, it decays and dies, and the snowman melts. I once knew love. I knew how love once felt. I once knew how love felt. Right. And I thought, wow, that's like childish rhymes. Yeah. And I thought, this is really stupid. Yeah. But then I played the song, and when I was playing the song, oh my God, I saw the scene where he's like, throw it in the yard after, because the story was, it was a real story that his wife and his got a divorce like right during Christmas. And so after Christmas, he just left the Christmas tree up, and it just got older and older and older, and he just didn't even care to throw it away.
I used to hate that as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
The trees thrown out and everything would end. The snowman would melt, and then that whole Christmas spirit would just go boom, and everybody's back to road rage and pushing and shoving and all the rest.
And so, I mean, so he made up this little scene where he like talked about the love going away, but also, which I believe all good songwriters do, that you can relate it to other things. Like you relate to the human condition, you can relate it to your childhood. Your childhood leaving you, and now it's gone, and it's like it decays and dies, but the beauty, of course, as we know, as slightly or trying to be evolved people, that we move on. That's the most important lesson.
Take elements of that with you, and you build upon it, and it just grows from there. I mean, those are some great elements of a phenomenal song. What do you feel, being in the thick of it all these years, are some other elements that really make a great song?
Well, the thing is that I also did a little stint with a company called Taxi, which was a song critiquing company. And so I had to listen to a lot of songs with a real analytical mind. And I realized that it wasn't so much about, John never wrote a song with more than 3 chords.
Right.
All the country guys never. So it wasn't about having all the fancy chords. That's something you leave for the jazz guys and the guys who are like, where you're listening more to proficiency and maybe like, technique, but that's not really songs. That's, and most jazz guys actually use old songs anyway and just do their own take on it. It's kind of a common thing. But it wasn't about the chords. It's not even about the melody. It's about having a lyric that really resonates. And I mean, the number one thing is that you have to have a lyric that can mean one thing to one person and mean something completely different to somebody else.
Yes.
And that's universality. And that, what I used to say in Taxi when I was writing, it's like, you can write for yourself. And if you write for yourself, it can be whatever you want it to be. That's fine. But if you're writing to have someone else listen to it, then it's not just writing, it is entertainment. And entertainment has to be entertaining. Like if I talk to you, like we always talk about the art of conversation. Our conversation has to have an arc, just like a story. If you're going to tell a story, it has to have, tension and then building up to something and boom, and then, and then this, and some people don't know how to do that. They don't, because they didn't understand that was an important thing.
It's all part of that. Yeah. The crescendo and
yes. Right. The sacred geometry, the 3 quarters, the hand,
pregnant pauses, all of it.
Fibonacci sequence, all that stuff has to do with this, so the song needs to entertain. It needs to do a build. It needs to have it does need to have a hook in American music. It does need to have something that people remember afterwards.
They hear it again and again.
They hear it again. Yes.
Just like TV commercials or jingles or any of that where they can sing. We were talking about the other night with one of the guests, maybe it was Barry Keenan, about jingles and about TV themes and movie soundtracks where, those take on a life of their own. And you can whistle TV shows from the 50s, 60s, 70s, the theme songs, some of the 80s as well.
That's when it started to go downhill.
now it's just the theme song to a TV show is that's it.
Yeah,
right in. There's no build up and the whole bit.
It's changed, definitely. But I can honestly say the first bands I had with my partner Bill Bonk, we did like 4 TV theme songs. We did the theme to Mary Tyler Moore. We did the theme to MASH. Did a few other ones. I think we did Bewitched or something. It was like that was part of our repertoire.
Wow.
Was because we love those songs.
Yes,
we love the theme to Mary Tyler Moore. I believe right now that one of the best pieces of music ever on TV was the theme to That Girl. And look it up. I think his name Earl Hagen was the guy who wrote. He also wrote. He wrote another really huge song. I can't remember another theme song, and he wrote a few actual songs as well. But that theme song to That Girl, of course, we were all in love with Marla Thomas. At the time, she was, she was that girl. I mean, I'm dating myself at this point now, but I was a little kid, Yeah. And the theme song in its melody, without words, tells the whole story of her coming to the big city and trying to make it as an actress. And if you really listen to it, it talks to you. And every time I am not ashamed to say by the end, and when it gets that crescendo where she turns around and spins around with the great clothes, she has this purple outfit on. I'm sorry, I noticed that, with an umbrella, that I get a little teary. I actually start to like oh,
because it really stood out. Yeah.
Is she going to make it or not?
Right.
Is she going to make it in New York?
Yes.
To me, that's like, how can it be better than that? I think it's better than the show, actually.
Actually, there are sometimes, I've even said this, there have been like if you watch your local TV station and then they have the Saturday morning movie, but the music that's used in the graphics for that Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon movie is fantastic.
Yes.
The graphics are colorful and reels are spinning and the music is crescendo and blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, my God, that movie wasn't so good. But the open and the close to the Channel 9 Saturday afternoon movie was fantastic.
I'll tell you one I'll tell you one better than that. When we grew up, I don't know if you had, ABC Movie of the Week. ABC Movie of the Week had this weird animation
of the week.
Right. The movie had a great voiceover, and the song was a Burt Bacharach song. It was called
Mickey.
Nicky, yeah,
for his daughter.
about his daughter. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
You know it. That would make me a little, yes,
The
exactly.
movie.
That
It's
would
all on
make,
YouTube. You can find all that on YouTube.
it would make me kind of tear
The
up too
actual
when I was a little
movies
kid.
too, they have.
Yes. No, I've been watching. I watched a Sally Field film called Maybe I'll Come Back in September.
They were all sort of interesting
Oh,
things would happen,
oh
right?
yeah.
I know it was, well, I was actually, you'll laugh. I was watching the other night because people, I used to
Yes.
actually videotape a lot of these
Oh
things
yes,
off
right, of
the air
course.
because I loved it, collecting it, working in television and radio. But there are these people who really have all of the opens to all the ABC movie of the week, the Sunday night movie, the two
Right.
CBS, NBC, and you look at it and you listen to the music, the
Yeah.
instrumentation,
No,
the
there
arrangement,
were pieces.
and then
There
the
were pieces of art.
graphics.
Yes.
Like holy, you're home with the family Sunday, the NBC Sunday night movie. And the buildup alone was like, and then you look at the comments that people say and how they loved that and they miss
Yes.
that, and it brings them. So we are missing in a lot of areas of our life these things that we identify with that bring us certain feeling. Everything is so quick and flash in the pan,
Yes.
and immediate and short and buzz and digital and high pitched and
Right.
flat and zzz, and vocal frying. That's a whole other topic. But there's
Yeah.
just all this stuff that's just very like searing, and you don't hear the warmth, you don't hear the melody, you don't get that feeling that
No.
we're going to sit down and we're going to enjoy. So I constantly watch. I mean, Family, remember that with Kristen
Yes.
McNichol and Seda
Yes, of course.
Thompson. Tubi is now running the whole series, and MeTV 2
And
or
what's her name,
MeTV
too?
Plus
Yes.
is doing it. And that melody alone, written by
Yes.
is it John Rubinstein, the Jr.?
Yes. Yes. Right. Correct. Yes.
Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da, da,
No.
da, da. When you'd hear that, you'd be like, this is what we're going to watch. And there's a certain feeling, with Seda Thompson and James Broderick and Gary Frank and Meredith Baxter Burney.
Meredith Baxter Burney, one of my first big crushes as
Meredith
well.
Baxter Burney.
Yeah.
And,
Oh yeah.
Kristen McNichol is Buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
his
The
buddy.
Lawrence family in Pasadena.
Yes.
But, that's a whole other, and then jingles too. You'd hear jingles for radio stations, networks, TV commercials. I forgot, one of the guests the other night had said that I'd like to teach the world to sing, which we
Right.
heard a lot on the radio. And then you heard other groups, even like the Ray Conniff Singers. You'd hear all these other groups that would do their versions of it. Percy Faith, all these people, and Mancini.
Right.
And at the same time, I forgot that it was actually written for Coca-Cola first.
Oh yeah.
And then it was so popular that it became something you heard on the radio.
Yep. We've only just begun. Was written for banks, for a bank company by Paul Williams. Strangely enough, I guess he was.
And then the Carpenters made it their thing, right?
The story is Richard heard the bank commercial and he said, "This is a great song. He goes, I want to do it." And so he called up and he goes, "It wasn't even a song. Paul had to finish it. All it was like just one verse." And it is an incredible song.
Dana is watching in Canada. My favorite theme song was America's
that's
Greatest
a good one.
Hero.
That was
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Dun, 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 dun,
that guy also did Hill Street Blues. The guy that yes, I can't remember his name. I met him once.
He was prolific during that time.
Mike Post.
Mike Post. Tom, but Mike Post, yes.
Yeah, Mike Post. He also did the theme to Doogie Howser, which was really strange.
Oh, yeah. Paris. We're going to chat some more, but did you want to entertain the Lovedies and play something first so they can hear some of the sound?
I will.
Yeah.
I'll play something that I hardly ever play because as I've gotten older, I'm trying to stay away from my darker songs. I know, but I wrote this song about a dream I had. And it was on the first Brothers Figaro record, which I was lucky enough to have David Lindley played the lap steel on it. Are you familiar with David Lindley?
Sure, yeah.
Yes, he played a lot with Jackson Browne and a lot of other people. He was our favorite guy. In fact, when we got a record deal, we said, we'll make a record, but we have to have David Lindley play on it.
Yeah.
And they go, okay. He was very happy to play on it.
That is cool.
This one's called Ease It Slow. Ready?
All right, here we go.
10 hard winters, I drove this man to shame. Wouldn't even notice, no, and I wouldn't change a thing. Gotta ease it slow, ease it slow. Everybody's talking, but I really don't think they know. I got my ways, child, and I got good things to show. No, gotta ease it slow, ease it slow. I wanna ease it slow. Why won't ease it slow? Yes, I do. And the worst part of the story is that it has no end. The middle is so faded, seems I just can't win in this life anymore. Ooh, anymore. I killed a man last night in cold blood. Well, I swear it was a dream. Now I can't sleep no more. The glistening tower gleams slow. Gotta ease it slow, ease it slow. I gotta ease it slow. I wanna ease it slow. Yes, I do. I do. No, no, no.
Really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Show us that beauty that you had in your hand. Tell us about it.
Got this. I got this from a place that actually, I got it really, it's a 65 A style Gibson. And I bought it from a place that sold it to me really cheap. And it turned out that this guy was like, had a crack problem. He used to sell the instruments and just go buy drugs with it. But, you know, I don't know. He was a great guy anyway. I didn't know he had a problem. I'm very like, I don't understand when people are on drugs. Like some people know, like, oh, that guy's a junkie. I go, really? I thought he was just spacey. You know, I have no radar.
Differentiate between the two. Yeah.
I have run it. I have like had lunch with lots of people that were junkies and had no clue whatsoever. And, you know, it's just what it is, you know, but that song, we have written that song. That song is actually about my 10 years was my 10 big years in the music business that, and nothing had happened. And I was like, kind of feeling pretty dejected. I felt like, well, I guess I'm going to have like my friend Bill was going to become a music teacher. He was going back to UCLA to get his degree. And I was going to just, I don't know. I didn't know what I was going to do. Maybe just play, like teach or playing wedding bands the rest of my life, which at the time was like one of the worst things you could do, you know, or worst things as someone trying to make it as a professional musician. It's like, well, now I play weddings, you know. But there's nothing wrong with playing weddings.
And bar mitzvahs too, right?
And bar mitzvahs, yeah. Bar mitzvahs and proms if you're lucky. But proms usually not, because after you're about age 25, you're kind of aged out of proms. Because you kind of need to know the repertoire, you know.
You know, speaking of instruments, your last name is very cool too.
Oh, yeah.
Piano. That is that Sicilian?
Yes, it is. You got it.
Tell us about that. There's I forgot what it was, but I don't know, about something slow or smooth or something.
You're very, very close. It's speak softly.
Speak softly.
In fact, in the Nico Rota song, Speak Softly Love, which is the theme to The Godfather, the lyrics actually have Parlapiano in it, which I never really realized. And I looked it up, and in Sicily, there's 3 roads called Parlapiano, which is very strange. So,
Wow. So do people think you made that name up
oh,
because you're touching, you're playing keyboards and everything else? They think it's like a stage name?
everybody does.
Yeah.
Every single
Come on, it's
person.
not
And
Pope. Yeah.
unless they're Italian, then they go, "Oh, yes,
And
of
then
course.
they get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah." They go, it's like, "Oh, that's a good Italian name." I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
I get that too. Everybody thinks I made up Jim Masters until I tell them I'm the fifth James. They're like, no, Jim Masters. Come on, they're telling you what your name is. That's
Yeah.
not your name. I'm like, wow, that's what the driver's license says.
It's a good name. It's definitely a good stage name,
For TV, radio, and all.
Yeah.
He's going to play more for us, gang. So that's a little teaser there. But Kiefer Sutherland, how did
Yes.
that happen? 2019, you had an opportunity to participate in the band to become one of the members. And how did that all come about for you?
I will tell you, he had done records with a guy named Jude Cole, and Jude Cole was a singer-songwriter in the 90s that I had worked with.
Oh, yeah.
And I worked on his records. He did he's a great songwriter, and he was working with Kiefer. They were kind of like they're buddies, and so they did records together. And one day he calls me up and goes, "Hey," because he'd always called me up to play with different artists. I think there was another a Christian band he played with, the Lighthouse, I think it was called.
Yeah.
That he like produced and managed. And so I done some work with them. So he goes, I'm in the studio with Kiefer, and I'm wondering if you want to play accordion on a few tracks. And then went in there, and this was like 2015 or something like that, many, many years ago. And we got along because Kiefer is a genuinely nice guy. He loves musicians. He gets, he's like really interested in people. He's a people person. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And, he liked what I did, and I didn't hear about him. I didn't hear from him for like 4 years. And then one day I was out playing with, I was doing a show with my good friend Jason Sine, and he plays in a band called the Knobs with Mike Campbell from the Heartbreakers. And so I was playing with them, and Kiefer calls me up. Jude said, I think Kiefer might call you up for something. And so Kiefer calls me up, and he always calls me. We talk to him directly. It's very strange because almost everybody I work with, you talk to a manager,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
But he likes to talk personally.
And they can be more difficult than the actual talent.
A lot of times they are. That's, So he called and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to do some things in Germany. Would you want to do it? It's on these dates." And I had to tell him, I go, "Well, I can't make it on those dates because I was committed, and this is the first time that I really just said, I'm going to stick. I was in my career, because I'd done so much reading about really, the four agreements and, things like that, staying true to your word, that I wasn't just going to do the musician thing and blow off something that I told somebody I would do. And, and so I said, I can't make it that day. And he goes, "Oh, that's too bad." I don't think he did. I think Jude called back, "It's too bad." And that was it. And then finally he goes, an hour later, he goes, "Oh, you can come the next day." Which was amazing because I came the next day, and we went to Germany. We played a show out there. And then he said, "I'm going to go on the road for a while. You want to do it?" I go, "Okay, great." And so it's been 2 years. We've been working together. We went to Russia. We did a humongous show opening for Muse.
Wow.
And it was 25,000 people. And that was in Moscow, and I'd never been there before. And it was an amazing experience. And so, we have a good time.
And hoping to get back going once the COVID thing sort of subsides.
I think we're set to play out in I don't know if England, but most of Europe in February. So there's a little bit of time. And he has a really great crowd out there that people really love him out there. And he's just he's very accepted. He has, a lot of big fans, and his music is really good. If you haven't checked it out, it's very kind of Americana, Chris Christopherson, a little bit more poppy than that, but the new material is really good too. So I'm looking forward to it.
A couple other things we found too. You were part of this, huh? Tell us about that.
Lone Navarro guys said we kind of came out of the same pool of acoustic rockers in the late 80s. They were playing at the place down the street, the Breakaway. We were playing at Molly's. And so we played a show in at this place called Largo, Cafe Largo, which is the famous place in West Hollywood. And Dan Navarro's manager, who's Dan, name sounds familiar. His cousin is Dave Navarro. I don't think I need to say who that is.
Yes, another
And
great. I have a lot of his material.
Dan and Eric had written a amazing song called "We Belong" for Pat Benatar, which is has never gone out of style. People still cover it. And so Dan came to see us play, me and Bill and myself play, and he turned to Eric and he said, "Oh my gosh, we got bad competition. We should just give up now." And he liked us that much. But then he thought, instead of doing that, maybe he could befriend us. And so he befriended me. And then when I wasn't playing with the Brothers Figaro, he asked me to come out and play some keyboards on his duo. And then in the end, some people know this, some people don't, but Eric had a horrible disease. He was diagnosed with ALS and he couldn't play guitar as well. So they hired me to come out and play keyboards with them. So they had a threesome. And I did maybe the last 3 years of their playing. And I saw Eric through every single situation. I saw Eric the day when he realized that he couldn't drive anymore, the day when he couldn't realize he couldn't play the guitar anymore. It was very sad to see what that disease does.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you're not familiar with it, it's really sad. And I was happy to be there to help him out, and I was happy
ALS,
yes.
Yeah, Lou Gehrig's.
Lou Gehrig's disease, exactly. Yeah. And he really had such a good attitude, and people would come to gigs, and he'd be crying. He goes, "Don't cry." He goes, he almost did the quote, "I'm the luckiest person in the world." Yeah. And he really understood what that meant. Because he got those things about the Power Now and all the self-help things. It was real. It's like, this is my life. This is my moment now. I'm going to live it. I'm going to be inspiration to people that continue to live, even though I know I'm going to die.
Music's very powerful like that too. And it can be very healing in so many different ways. And you're a big believer in the power of all that, aren't you?
Oh, yes, definitely. When I do a show on Sundays, and it started with Saturdays and Sundays. And so Sundays, since I didn't go to church and I'm not really considering myself a Christian. I grew up in the Christian tradition. I believe in a lot of the Christian ethics. I don't think I need to tell you about the organized religion and everything about that and why I don't partake, although I have gone to church. So on Sunday, I thought, well, maybe I'll do a little bit something different and have a little moment of gratitude, And so it went from this idea of doing moment of gratitude to being like talking about gratitude. And then I had my old hymnals out and I would play a song from church and pretty soon it became kind of like a little church ceremony. I talk about gratitude, all the things I'm grateful for. I'd have a subject like, forgiveness, simple stuff that I've learned from, these, from the reading I've done and from just life experiences, forgiveness of someone who's done you wrong. Everybody knows at this point, if you've thought about it a lot, it only hurts yourself if you're angry at somebody. It doesn't hurt them at all.
They're not thinking about it. Yeah.
They're not thinking about it. They've already moved on. And then the whole idea that you take a bad thing and you go, okay, that was bad. Or maybe a mistake that you've made. I tell my wife all this time. In fact, the other day I said, he goes, mistake you made is like, we talk about, well, maybe should we have done it this way? Should we have done it that way? Should we just I'm tired of you ruminating over mistakes. And I go, well, I'm not ruminating, I'm reflecting. And there's a difference. In reflecting, I'm looking at it as an objective person. It's going, well, what could this person have done better? Could he have done this? Could he have done that? Could he have not done this? And I'm reflecting rather than beating myself up, which I would have done in the past, going, oh, I'm an idiot. Why did I say that? That was the wrong thing to say. Now I go, that was the wrong thing to say. I won't do that again.
Right.
That's reflection. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to move ahead because I really do believe the basic philosophy, the bottom line is we're here, we're divine spirits put in animal bodies. So we're always fighting the animal body because we're dogs. We are dogs. Men are dogs, women are dogs too. We're all like just animals. We're just we have taught ourselves. We have enough intellect to go, we don't have to go to the dog place. Because we did the dog place. Someone gets to my food. I'm going to kill them. I mean, literally, we'll just kill them. And we saw this in society up to the 21st century is that people were more barbaric, right? There was a time when someone got in your way, bam, you kill them.
Does it seem like we're headed back that direction a little bit?
I think there's always, that's a really good question. I think there's always a pullback. I think that we, not to get into, stars, but I really do believe the
But it's
answer.
fascinating stuff, isn't it?
Well, the answer is in astrology. It's meaning that the stars will tell us everything we need to know. How you interpret them. One of these things is the stars. We're all moving in the universe into the age of Aquarius. We've been in the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces is of rules. It's no coincidence the age of Pisces was associated with Christ. We're going to the age of Aquarius. This is where Christ will be included, but it'll be more like, okay, he's one of the guys. And there are these people that were like trying to tell us how to live a more evolved life. But that doesn't mean you have to kill for him, because that's going backwards. And so what's happening now as we're going to the age of Aquarius, and people don't like to think about this, but change in society happens over a period of maybe like 100 years, maybe even 200 years. And your lifetime, if you're lucky, you're going to be here for maybe 80 years, and you're really only going to be doing things from like 75 and the last. I'm digressing. People do, go to 100. Actually, I read a story. We're supposed to live till 120, but processed food, so that we're not going to see the change in our lifetime, but we can be the change. We can actually, and we're here just to kind of push it along a little bit. Yeah. And that next point, and what's happening now is there's a pullback, because they're going, oh my gosh, no, we don't want to change. We love the idea of racism. We love the idea of money. In the future, I don't think money will be the currency that it is at this point. There will be other things. But, if you had a lot of money, you wouldn't want to see that go away, right? And I understand that. So that's why there's this pullback, I mean, it kills me, the political, I won't talk about the political climate in America, but this is not, I grew up as a kid, and I grew up in the hippie movement. I wasn't a hippie, I was too young, but I grew up, the hippies were misunderstood. They wanted the American dream too. They wanted the American dream, but like for people actually to be able to be free, and free meant if I want to grow my hair, or I want to be gay, or I want to be, whatever, this is America. We're supposed to be free. If I want to be, an ethnicity, I should be treated the same as a white person, and this is what we've all been pushing for. And when I was a kid, I was like, oh God, America's so great. We're pushing towards this. And then all of a sudden, last 4 years, we saw the whole pushback. It's like, push it back, make America great again. What does that mean? Make it the 50s? Come on. But it wasn't that great in the 50s, as far as really what was going on. And so, but like I said, it's going to take a while for people to adjust to the change, because it's going to be dramatic. But knowing society, it's going to be over a slow period of time. So I won't see it in my lifetime. If I had kids, or my friends' kids might see it in their lifetime. Their kids may start to see it.
Yeah. How is music following that pattern? Is music reflecting the times, the changes?
I think it will more and more. I think music at this point is reflecting the time that we spoke about before of immediacy. Things happen real fast. The song has to be, it has to get to the point really fast. I want to hear the hook. We don't have time for poetry. That's one of the things I'm upset with music. And we used to talk about poetry. Poetry used to be part of songwriting, where it's like you were talking about a subject, maybe like revolution against the government, or a girl that you like and you want to get with her, and you wouldn't say, I want to get with her. You'd be like talking about all this other stuff about what you're going to do and what you've really, other feelings
that whole build up and the romance of it. And
exactly. And,
story.
Unfortunately, now that's considered old fashioned.
Now it's cut to the chase.
Yes, cut to the chase. And it's unfortunate. I think that, I know some of my friends have kids that, I knew one of my friends has a kid. She was 14. Her favorite artist of all time was Carole King, and she had a crush on James Taylor, Yeah. So there are a lot of people, if they're exposed to the right music, and she was not on board with the, Taylor Swift, great for some people. She's like, not really my thing. I'd rather listen to Carole King than Taylor Swift. So she and other of my friends gave me confidence that it's not about, who's popular, and it's not all the kids love who's popular. Of course, it's always easier to love who's popular because everybody around you is doing it. and when you're a child, when you're young and a child or a teenager, you don't want to be an outcast. But I think we are, along with the age of Aquarius, I think we're getting to a point where kids are going to be okay with being an outcast. It already happened with Scholastic.
And if they don't have a lot of TikTok or Instagram followers, their life is not over.
Right. I think that I've met those kids. They're not all about that. Of course, just like in society is, pushes you towards one way. Because if you're all TikTok lovers, if you're all game lovers, it's like they have a place to sell you things. I mean, that's all I can say. It's not, they don't care about whether society's changing or not. They care about whether they can make money off of you. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be cynical by saying that, but the world has always kind of revolved around currency, and it always will. But the thing is, in the 70s, I love the fact the world revolved around currency still, but it was candles that said love on it, candles that said peace. They sold big, so they were out there. But the fact of the matter is the kids were being exposed to the word love in their face all the time, the word peace all the time. Instead of, make America great. I won't even talk about that. I'm sorry, I'm getting on that side, but just about wanting to have something that you thought was great that wasn't really that great for everybody. It was only great for a percentage of people, like that big.
Did you want to play something else for us?
Yeah, I'll play something else. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, seriously.
That's okay. You feel good too, right? Doesn't that feel like a light, like a load that has been lifted now? And
well, yeah. And I want to leave it with saying that, I respect everybody's views, even ones I don't agree with, because that's part of trying to be evolved. And, it's like, and I know that it's going to be better in the long run, and that there's always going to be a push and pull until people come to the middle, and the middle will be fine. It'll be where we need to be.
You know what it's all about, Phil?
What's it all about? Tell me.
Levity.
Oh, yes. Levity. I know. I think you're on it. You got to get Marianne Williamson on the show.
Oh, yeah. Spread the word. Oh, look at the beauty we've got there. Now you're talking, huh?
It's something I bought at a I used to go to what we used to call them swap meets, but they're just, like flea markets.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
On Sunday. We had on Sunday.
Real good deals.
Yeah. I got this
record albums at Goodwill.
Yeah. I got this for $90.
Wow. Really?
It's just a little,
what is it?
This is a Hohner. Hohner is a really big accordion brand. It's from Germany. Most of my stuff is German. I mean, most of my stuff is Italian because, I'm Italian, but this one's my German one. So this is a song that I wrote with my friend Bill. It's on my first record, or my second record, called Pianoforte. The song is called Menthol Cigarette. It's about loneliness. It's 20 past noon when I stop by the Red Room, get myself a drink at the edge of the bar. But they all look the same when you're 1 inch away, and you turn the lights way down low. Turn the lights way down low, so I can't see anymore. I'm here trying to forget the cigarette. The oldest profession that keeps a man breathing. The smell of tobacco, sweet as your smile. But they all go up in smoke rings, all turn to ashes, and they leave you there wondering why. Turn the lights way down low, so I can't see anymore. I'm here trying to forget a menthol cigarette. Over and over weakness of men. Over and over and over again. And I quit, but I'm not a quitter. Turn the lights way down low so I can't see anymore. I'm here trying to forget menthol cigarette. Yeah, menthol cigarette. Oh, and over again. Oh, beautiful women, the weakness of men. Over and over and over again. Cigars and whiskey and the company of men. Over and over again. And I quit. I'm not a quitter. Menthol cigarette.
That's terrific.
Oh, thank you.
That's really, really fantastic. You said that's on pianoforte, that
Yeah.
album there.
Yes.
Now
Yeah.
is the mute. That's this one, right?
Yes, that's one.
Yeah. So everybody look for that. Now that they can get Amazon probably or Spotify. Where can they find that?
Yeah, they can find it on Spotify, and they could also go to my website too, and I will supply them with some codes to get in.
Yeah. What's the website address?
Oh, it's easy. It's my last name, Parlapiano, PARLAPIANO.com.
Like you see it on the screen there.
Yeah,
right?
just like that, parlapiano.com. And I'm kind of active on there. I'm active on Facebook as well. It's pretty easy to find me on there, and Instagram, all those things.
All the usual suspect places.
All the usual things, I don't like to go on it too much. It kind of starts to affect my mind a little bit. I don't know if that's, once again, just being a sensitive, slightly sensitive person. But I'm glad
about this cool shirt you're wearing. I'm now seeing it because the accordion is pulling it forward. So now I'm seeing it.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
Oh, thank you. I think it's Little Leopards. My wife got it for me at it's Paul Smith. In case anybody's keeping track out there.
Little Edward R. Morrow, person to person. We're now at the home of Phil Parlapiano. Tell us about the room that you're in.
Oh yes. Well, this is just the internet mic, but over here is like part of my computer. Oh, gotta go this way. Okay. That's like speakers. I have a big monitor. That's a little that's a picture. I used to be an artist when I was a kid. I did that when I was 10. But my grandmother was the real artist. She drew this one. Let me see. I have them all over the place. Like this is the organist. I think she was thinking of me when she did that.
Bring it a little closer to the screen. That's amazing.
Oh, screen there. I brought it to the microphone.
You're a musician. You brought it to the microphone.
And then over here, let me see. I can do this. There's my B3. Yeah, I love my B3. I got that with Dave Koz.
Did you really? Wow.
Yeah. And over here, let me see. There's my Wurlitzer. You might know about those little electric pianos. Or I'll give you a little better view of that. There it is right there. And there's the air conditioning over it. And this is my little studio where I make, do a bunch of tracks on my own.
Studio?
What was that?
That's like a soundproof studio, right?
Yeah. We built this. This was a little room that was here already. They were just keeping it was like a tool shed, keeping stuff like that. And we just put some soundboard on it, and just many years ago when I first moved here. I've lived here for a long time.
Very, very cool.
But,
you also worked well. What's really cool, and I mentioned in the beginning, you have these opportunities that you have continued work in the studio and live as an accordionist and keyboardist. I mentioned, of course, Joan Baez, John Bon Jovi as
Yes.
well, the Dixie Chicks, Elvis Costello. Tell us about that. Like John Bon Jovi, what's it like working with John?
John Bon Jovi was doing a record called Young Guns 2. And he had a little accordion. Somebody had done a keyboard of an accordion part on a song called Miracle, which I think was the big song from that movie. Ironically, way before I knew Kiefer, Kiefer was actually in that movie. But his producer, who is Dan Kuchmar, called me up when we had answer machines, and he said, "Hey, this is Dan Kuchmar, because I'm in here in the studio with John Bon Jovi. I want you to come in and play some accordion." And I thought it was a joke, right? Of course. So I called him back because we all knew about Cooch because he played with James Taylor, and he was kind of a little legend himself. But I went in there and we went to the studio, which it was A&M, used to be Charles Chaplin's studio. Now it's Jim Henson's studio. And we went in there and I met John, and he just, I played the part. We hung out for the afternoon. Nicest guy ever, real down to earth. Played on that, played another song. That was my big thing with John. That was it. Sorry guys. It was just one day in the studio.
What fantastic.
Yeah.
Huh?
Same thing with the Dixie Chicks too. I went in there and a producer friend of mine, Jim Scott, was producing them, and they needed some help with an accordion. I did some accordion work on them. I think they might have replaced it with one of the girls, actually, just used it as a kind of for position only, so she could play a part. But I did work on the record. And who are the other people who are saying? Oh, Elvis Costello. I did a show when I was playing with Lucinda Williams, who's a great Americana artist, and we did a show with Stan from the Heartbreakers. It was on VH1, and it was matching country artists with rock artists.
Oh, so, yeah.
I think it was called Crossroads, I believe it was called.
Yeah.
So Elvis came on, and we were all big fans of Elvis, and we did some of his songs, which were amazing. He did some of her songs, and we all played together on a really good version that is actually on YouTube of her and him playing what was it? Oh, Rolling Stones, Wild Horses. And we had a great band with guys I still know. Doug Pettibone actually plays with me with Kiefer's band. A guy named Taras Perdundiak is a great bass player, and a few other guys. It's really good. That was a good experience. So it's like sometimes I play with these people and we'll play like for a whole week, but then they'll end up, I see them every once in a while. We say, hey, but that's about it. We don't continue to play. But then every once in a while, some of these people call out of the blue, and they, even Rod, after I'd done my stint with him, he called me for some TV shows. We did Saturday Night Live together once, which was amazing.
What was that like? Yeah, SNL.
Oh, and it was a classic. It was with Phil, two unfortunately deceased people, Phil Hartman. And the big guy,
John Candy.
No, after John.
I know which one you're talking about. He came after John Candy.
He did that movie, Tommy Boy.
Yes. I can see him.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember his name. Yeah, he was a household name for a while, but unfortunately he's deceased as well. And so it was a class
that night. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was the guy from Californication.
Duchovny?
Yes.
David Duchovny.
Yes, David Duchovny. Yes. And so we played one of Rod's new songs, which actually was a Tom Petty song. And the fun part was the party afterwards. They have a dance party in front of the that statue. It's where they have the big. Why can't I remember? Rockefeller Center. Thank you.
Rockefeller Center. Yes.
Yeah. So they had a big dance party, and everybody was there, and just kind of hang out and schmooze with the cast. That was like pretty much the funnest part of it. Playing was really good too. I love doing TV. I do a lot of TV, as you see. The last thing I did was
Chris Farley. That's who it was.
Yeah, Chris Farley.
Chris Farley was the one that you were trying to think
Yes, Chris Farley. Shameless. Yes, I was on Shameless. I was on the last episode of Shameless.
Isn't that? I know.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Happily Divorced, The New
Happily
Girl,
Divorced, New Girl.
Transparent, Lethal Weapon, and Barry.
Yes,
I mean,
Barry was I was the bad accordion player. It was in the I was a accordion player slash uh, uh, Chessian militant guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's funny. And
yeah.
then, of course, something else that's quite epic that people, I'm sure, remember. You're actually in Titanic.
Yes, I was in the
Kate
Titanic.
Winslet, Leo DiCaprio.
Yes,
Tell
I
us
was
about that.
I was lucky enough. I was called. My buddy Bill had played on the soundtrack, and then he couldn't make. They asked him to play to be in the movie, and he wasn't available, so he called me. And I went down, and we did in Rosarita. They had a 1/3 size version of the Titanic out in the water, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, the director. Oh my gosh, now I'm drawing a blank. You know who I'm talking about. Amazing genius of a guy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he had done all the sketches. He was really concerned with the band, us looking really accurate, like got an instrument that was like kind of from that era. It
James
didn't play.
Cameron.
James Cameron. I'm so bad with names right now. James Cameron, really super impressed
And
with
Hans
him.
Zimmer, was was his music in that as well?
I think it was the other guy. It was the guy who wrote the theme song, who was also very big. I think Hans might have done a little bit. James, he wrote My Heart, something.
The one that Celine Dion.
Yes. And he wrote and great music. I didn't meet any of those guys. I didn't meet any music guys because we were there for about 4 days shooting one scene. I was lucky enough to be at the same table with Kate and Leo. And Kate and Leo was, people don't realize that he was like 17 years old or something. He was very little kid. James Horner. Thank you. James Horner, amazing soundtrack. Kate was sitting right next to her, and it was before she was a big star. I think she had done a few things, but I was totally taken aback. I love English girls are kind of like a little bit of weakness, and she was so beautiful, at that time, and she still is a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And I think a really consummate actress as well. Both of them actually. Yeah, both of them are
epic movie, and
yes, it really made them
the music. And
I think the interesting thing about that movie is that everybody expected it to fail big time.
They thought it was going to sink.
Because he had spent so much money. They had spent so much money on it.
It was epic.
Yeah. Yes, and that the label, or I say label, but the movie company had said no more. You don't get any more money. And Cameron actually said, "Okay, I'm going to take a bigger piece of this movie, but I'll pay for it myself." So Cameron actually found his own. I think he paid for himself the end of the movie to finish the movie, and of course he got the last laugh. And I think even a lot of the actors took less pay and got a piece of it. So they're like, "Great for us."
Yeah, they had no idea that it would become such a. And look what it did with Celine Dion too.
Yes, I know.
I mean, anybody attached to that.
Yeah.
I mean, even look at you. I mean, you're on the Jim Masters show live right now.
Yes, I am talking about it. Yes.
Is that not extraordinary what has happened? And you're a lovity on our show. I mean, I say to all the guests, there's Oscars, Grammys, Tonys, Emmys, Tellys, Peabodys. But when you get a lovity from the Jim Masters show live, I mean, how does it make you feel now?
Is that what's in the back there?
That's yes. No, those are my awards. Those are TV awards.
Those are TV awards.
I lovity those.
Yes, of course you do.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears for those. But when you get a lovity from even the audience, I bet your feet are tingling right now, right?
Well, I hope I was kept their attention, and I wasn't too boring or anything. I've seen some of these things, and people just like yak, and I go, okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just not really going anyplace.
Right. No. Like I said, I like conversational. And again, this plays off of what I do professionally. So it's I like warm. I don't even call any of this interviews. It's not stuff. It's an entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series. We do a lot of different things. Having a guest and chatting with them in a conversational style is like one element of what we do. Kind of, again, like Johnny Carson, Dick Cavett, Regis Philbin, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas, some of those old school, you were talking old school.
Yes,
John
love those shows.
Davidson, who we had
Yeah,
on the
John
show
Davidson. Oh yeah, crazy.
he was with us a couple of months ago as
Love
a
him.
guest. Yeah, he's got this really cool. We went up there to New Hampshire to see him and visit with him and spend some time after he was a guest on the show. And then we climbed Mount Washington, which was really cool too. But he's got this really fantastic intimate venue in New Hampshire, in Sandwich, New Hampshire, and he calls it Club Sandwich. And he has these great artists and performers come in. He does a couple of nights where it's him on the weekend, and then he has other performance, and it's wrapping up. I think it's like this weekend, and then he is doing one night in Pennsylvania or something, and then for the winter he goes to his home in Mexico.
Oh, nice.
And then he lives in New Hampshire. He's made his home in New Hampshire.
He's got a good life.
He's done it all. Yeah, he hosted everything, Hollywood Squares, and That's Incredible. And
I totally remember it.
I think he remembers. I forgot about this, but he said on the show that he, as far as musicians and singers and musicians, was the one that filled in for Johnny Carson more than anybody else who was a musician,
right?
And singer, which is quite amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, but that guy could do it all.
That brings me to the variety shows. When we were growing up, we were obviously in the, golden age of variety shows. There were thousands of them but every variety show, the host, except for Johnny, got away from it. They all had to sing a song before they did their thing.
Right. Even Carol Burnett sang.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, of course she did. But they all sang a song. And Johnny was the one who broke the mold. He didn't sing.
No, he did the comedy instead. Yes. Right. Yeah.
But of course, starting with, Dinah Shore really was a singer. But,
Dinah Shore.
Everybody else, Merv Griffin always started with a song. Because you got to start with a number. Mike Douglas. Yeah, they all did. And they weren't singers necessarily, but they sang a song, and it all stopped. I think the last person to do that was like Alan Thicke.
Yes.
I remember Alan Thicke used to sing a song.
Created a lot of theme songs too.
He did. Yes, he did. He was
a lot of theme music.
Yes, he did. The Facts of Life, I believe, was what it was.
Facts of Life. And we had
different strokes. Yes.
We had the son of Charlotte Rae on our show.
Larry Strauss,
who wrote a book about her.
Yeah, she was great. Yes,
Marty Thompson, who is a great guy. He's originally from Australia, and he lives in Nashville. He's called the Aussie Crooner. He's a great guy. He was a guest on our show. This is Super Chat that you can do live during YouTube. And thanks, Marty. I appreciate that. Really cool green color that is. And thanks for your support of our show, Marty. You're the best. That's folks, when you're watching Super Chat, super emoji, super stickers or something you can do during the live chat, which helps support the show. And that's cool. He says, great interview, Jim. Phil, we talked about this earlier, but maybe you can sprinkle a little bit about it again. What was it like working with Rod Stewart?
It was the most interesting thing about working with him was that since I'd grown up my whole life looking at his records, seeing him, hearing him on the radio, it was always really kind of unnerving to be sitting at a table and having a glass of wine with him. And he was look at me and he'd go, hey Phil, buy your boss a glass of wine. And I'm like, okay, so I bought him a glass of wine. He'd sit there and drink it, and we drink some wine together, and he'd tell me things. He didn't really talk a lot. He would hang out, and he'd be like one of the guys. The two things he loved to talk about, there were two things, and this is what everybody saw. Old time rock and roll, like Chuck Berry, loves Chuck Berry, and cars, love cars. Yes.
Yeah, like Jay Leno. Yeah.
Yes. Cars. Those were his two big loves. So, if you got him talking about cars, he would talk all day.
Absolutely.
So those are the things I remember most about him, and just being, in his presence. One other story is that one time I was in Chicago. We'd be there for a while, and I'm walking down the street, and this limo is tailing me, going down the street. And finally the window opens up, and it literally is just a beak. It's just this, right? Which is the funniest thing.
Hope?
No, it was Rod. And he goes, Parlapiano. And then you go, what are you doing? That's all he said. Right. And there were three people walking next to me. It's like, oh my God, it's Rod Stewart. And then you go, gotta run. I take off. But
Exactly,
they
right?
could tell just from his beak and his voice. They were like, "It's Rod Stewart." You're like, because I couldn't see eye. It was just like this. It was really strange. It was funny.
Exactly. We got
So,
another quick thing we wanted to show. Here's another album here,
oh yeah,
Mr. Squeeze. Yeah, that's a great name for you, Mr. Squeeze. It's so perfect.
I
Um,
I got that from John Prine. John
I,
Prine,
yeah, and
yeah.
nothing, no sponsorship from Charmin or anything, huh?
I know, right? I could use the toilet paper.
Yes,
Um,
please don't squeeze the Charmin.
he was doing a song about it was called "The Sins of Mephisto," and he was talking about being on a bus, and he's watching all the people, and then he came to a line. He said, "Listening to the music of Mr. Squeeze," and
Yeah,
then
so
he was talking
perfect.
about me. It's like, I'll take
See?
that. Yeah.
See, you got that from John Prine,
Yes.
and Don Rickles got Mr. Warmth from Johnny Carson. Johnny
Yeah. That's
Carson was
good.
the one who said, "And now here's Mr. Warmth," and then Don Rickles hooked into it
Uh,
and stayed with it.
oh yeah, that's great.
Do you remember, just a real TV trivia here? You probably know the answer to this, but um, when Johnny Carson and the Tonight Show, when he was taking the Tonight Show over from originally with Steve Allen and Jack Parr,
Right.
when Johnny Carson was tasked with taking it over, he wanted a new theme to the song, to the show, theme song. So they were thinking about a lot of different themes to come up with. And he wanted something that had a certain feel and certain specific sound. So there were a number of people, I guess, that were coming up with different tunes. And there was somebody in particular that wrote something. Johnny, I think, was involved in the actual part of the creation, or at least he listened to it and was the final judge and jury on this song will be used going forward for the next 30 years of him
Yes.
hosting it. Da, 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 da. Again, another situation where it's a TV series that's iconic just
Yeah.
by hearing that sound.
Oh yeah.
You don't
remember.
need a dictionary or anything explaining what that is, even all these years later. And so there was he's still around, famous singer and
Yes.
songwriter who was the person that wrote it or co-wrote it, I think wrote it, and sort of played it for Johnny. And Johnny fell in love with it and said, we will use that song every night, which, just think about the
Yes.
residuals
The
on that
residuals are
song.
high. Yeah. Back.
Residuals are good.
Yeah.
Um,
Channel 4.
and it was, but I want a piece of the song.
Right.
And of course, he had a piece of the show eventually over time as well.
Yeah.
But
Are you going to ask me who wrote it?
you know who it is, right?
I do know who it is. Yeah.
Yes,
I think I know. Paul Anka.
Paul Anka.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Yes.
You go home with a new and improved washer and dryer.
Yeah, that was a
Paul
funny
Anka.
one because it was it was so you didn't think of him writing a like a jazzy theme song like that.
Yeah,
because he was known.
Da, 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 da.
It's good. It's really good.
Yes.
It's really good.
Yes.
And did he do You're Having My Baby? Was that him?
You're having my baby. Yes. And I think Put Your Head on My Shoulder. And
Yeah.
all these songs. And Toby mentions Andy Williams, another who had a show
Yes.
and then sang with
Yes,
the show.
always. Yeah.
Andy Williams, the King.
Yes, I played with his nephews.
Oh, you
were
did?
called the Williams brothers. Yeah, they were. Andy was their.
And
they
Andy discovered the Osmonds, really.
Yes, he discovered the Osmonds, but the Williams brothers were two twins that were, that they were their uncle was Andy Williams,
right?
And they had a record deal on Warner Brothers.
Yes,
keeping it all in the brothers situation, and yeah, they were great, really good singers.
Marty,
a few hits
again. I appreciate this he's doing the super chat again. Really cool.
Yes.
Thanks, Marty. He goes, did you work on his great song book with Rod?
That's a really good question. I did go down to play accordion on one song. I don't think it made the song book, but there was a producer who was producing at the time. Oh man, I knew his name a second ago, but he produced all the Carly Simon records in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yes, great record, great producer. And he called me in to do.
There you are with Prine.
Yes,
John Prine. We talked about him earlier. Yeah,
those are good days. Yes.
That's an epic shot, huh?
Yeah, I know.
What was happening that night?
That was probably, we were playing a show. I think it might have been that was on our tour called Lost Dogs and Mixed Blessings.
Mm-hmm.
And I was probably playing one of his big hits, because I played the mandolin on I Am a Poor Woman.
Yeah.
Make Me an Angel from Montgomery. Yes.
Yeah.
Angel
John
from
Prine.
Montgomery.
Yeah. John Prine.
Yeah. That was his big hit with Bonnie Raitt. A lot of people don't think that, they think that Bonnie wrote that song, but it was John.
It's amazing, some of the songs that have been huge, and then these other, Dolly Parton, I mean, so many others wrote these songs, and you think of the singer. There was a whole conversation. I was watching something actually really good. I think it was about Whitney Houston.
Yes, I Will Always
Love You.
Yes,
and she had her version, Dolly, which was fantastic. But then when they wanted to use it for the movie and they had Whitney do it, Dolly was like, go at it. And what an interesting take on that version as well.
She made it her own. There's no doubt. Yeah.
I think I mean, there's a lot of versions, but I think the two probably greatest versions I have heard of female singers of the American national anthem was when Whitney Houston did it during, I think it was in the 90s, during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was unbelievable. And actually a Christian artist, Sandy Patty,
I know who Sandy Patty is.
During Liberty Weekend, when it was the epic Liberty Weekend 100th birthday celebration of the Statue of Liberty, and they had just redone it, and ABC played that full-length, like 2-3 minute version, extended version of her singing. You can see it on YouTube, Sandy Patty singing that during Liberty Weekend. Unbelievable. The crescendos of her voice, just incredible. Really incredible.
No, it's a hard song to sing.
They say it's one of the hardest songs, is the national anthem. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hardest pop song. Yes.
So what do you have coming up that you're excited about that maybe you want to share with us?
I have
besides dinner.
I have some shows with Perla Batea. Perla was a background singer with Leonard Cohen, and she's a really good artist on her own right. And she sings a lot of Latin music as well. So a lot in Spanish, and she's an amazing singer. We have a great oud player. I don't know if you know what oud, it's a old instrument. It's fretless, kind of has 12 string. It's amazing. It's really hard to play.
Yeah.
That, I actually did something really exciting just last week. I went to Washington, D.C. with Lee Rocker from the Stray Cats.
Oh, did you?
Yes. And he's a great bass player. We went to Washington, D.C. to play a show in the Library of Congress, and Nancy Pelosi showed up, and I shook her hand, and that was kind of like a thrill for me.
Wow.
Yeah. And the next day we played a 1,700 seat banquet for Jill Biden, but we didn't get to go into the banquet. But yeah, she was there, and I think the president was there too. And these are things that kind of get me excited. I mean, I'm not going to be political, but I'm really proud of that team right now. I know I'll get like some kickback for that. I'm sorry. I'm really proud of them. I think they're I think they're doing as good as they can. They've been handed a grenade practically with the pandemic, and fixing it.
What are some of the things, even in your own life, that are blessings and inspirations for you that keep you going? You've been doing this a long time. You've worked with a lot of fantastic people. You yourself have this fantastic career that continues. What are some of the things that, motivate and inspire and bless you and bring you joy regularly, Phil?
Well, I have to say, it starts with my wife. She's been a really great supporter of me through, we've been married over almost 21 years now and been together longer than that. And she's kept me going. There have been some hard times. As everybody knows in the music business, it's not all ride up. Sometimes there's dips. And I appreciate that in the dips, I didn't get too far down in terms of depression, because it's very easy to kind of go, that's it. I had my shot. Now I'm on my way to, retirement or whatever you want to say it, or whatever it is, you can enter in the blank of something you don't want to do. Gardening the rest of my life, which that is not a horrible thing. Gardening is actually really nice, but I wanted to stay active. I'm glad that I'm working with someone like Kiefer and a few other people that are actually doing things. That's why I was excited about going to Washington. I'd been wanting to meet some, president or vice presidents for a really long, long time. And it just, there are certain spots I hit that I didn't hit, like winning a Grammy for some of my own music. It's a lot harder than it really, than you would think it would be. And that would be nice, but I'm appreciative that I was even a junk to people that had won Grammys, and I'm appreciative that I got to, I've worked with so many of the people that I grew up listening to when I was younger that, I'm very thankful for those opportunities. I'm thankful for my grandmother. I think they did a study of people that did great things like Bill Gates, and how the reason Bill Gates did so much is because he had a chance meeting at the school he had a computer, and he started working with the computer. And they're saying if he hadn't had that opportunity, would you be talking about Bill Gates now? So you realize these are things he was probably thankful for. And there are a lot of what my friend calls God shots, which just means like moments of fate that come in. It's like, here's the computer. When I saw Mrs. White on the organ, it's like, here's the organ, check this out. What's that about? It's like, and my love of a Hammond organ started from that. And if I had never seen that, I've never seen it in the right way, I don't know if I would have, been the person I am. I'm appreciative. Now I can go back through my life and appreciate the things that didn't happen for me, like not being a sports star, not being really good at football is, actually because it led me more time to practice, So I'm getting to the point where I appreciated the heck out of all the things that are obvious, the fact that we live in America, that we have a meal, the fact that I have a job, the fact that I have a great family and a dog that I love, and a car that I can drive, all the simple stuff, and going back and appreciating all the negative things that happen and like seeing how they kind of molded who I am.
Also, and that's beautifully said. I mean, it's a full circle, and those are the things in life that really matter most: family and friendship, and doing work that really speaks to who you are and sharing it with the world. Really, really cool stuff. I forgot to mention, you also did some work with the Jonas Brothers too, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, that's a little bit of junked because there was a producer that I used to work with, write all the songs for all the Disney acts. And so he would throw me like a Miley Cyrus song, or a Demi Lovato song, and I would go in and play some accordion on it. On the Jonas Brothers, it was something for Camp Rock or something. I can't remember what it is. Like, they had like some little movies about being in camp, and they would sing a song around the campfire. I don't know. And there was accordion in a few songs, and I was playing accordion. So I can't say I ever met the Jonas Brothers, but it's just another thing I put in there to,
You've had,
I did
participated in, you're in the material, you're in the movie Titanic. I mean,
yes.
You're in these things and on these things because you selected the accordion.
Oh yeah, I know.
So you look back to that childhood and those, that when you were saying, hey, I fell in love with it at 7, and look.
The organ, actually, strangely enough, the accordion I didn't pick up until I was in my 20s. It just was.
That's right. It was the organ first.
It was the organ,
yes.
But then the accordion. But the accordion was what really, when I picked up the accordion, thanks to Marvin Etzioni, who you said you had on his. He was one of the first people
was with us. He's fantastic.
He saw me playing the accordion. He goes, "Hey, play with my band." And then after I played with his band, so many people were calling me up to play accordion. I just didn't even think it was a thing,
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, the accordion is a lot more, it's easier to pack than taking an organ with you.
You got that right. I love that about it. It's like somebody goes, "Hey, why don't you play accordion?" It's like, bam, I put it on my back. I have a studio down the street. My friend Tom Weir, he has actually a studio walking distance. And sometimes he'll go, "Hey, can you play accordion track?" Go, "Sure." Put it on my back, walk there. I'm there in 5 minutes. Take a nice walk.
Yeah.
Do a session, come back home, eat lunch, like you said, come back. so I'm thankful for that. I always saw that studio. I saw that studio when my friend Bill and I were little kids. It was a place called Fidelity Sound, and we actually went in that studio, the very studio I'm talking about, and we talked to somebody. We're only 13 years old. And he goes, "We've never seen a recording studio. Can we come in and look?" And they're like, "Sure." And these guys showed us around, and we're like, "Whoa,
Wow.
this is what we want to do." And then years later, I ended up working at the recording studio. The same thing with me seeing the organ with Mrs. White playing. Literally 10 years, 12 years later, I was playing that organ at that church. So,
Amazing. Goes around, comes around, huh?
well, I see more of those things that happen in life, and I mean, I don't want to give advice to people, but just look for the beauty and things. And there's, even in hardship, there's like something that comes out of it.
There is.
And as I always say in my show, it's hard to look at beauty. It's hard to look at the good side if you're sick. And I know this from being sick. When you're sick, all you want to do is be well. Yeah, be better. Yeah. So I know that's the biggest challenge, and I've been blessed by very few little spots of being sick.
Dana is watching in Canada, and he asks, if you were in a dark room and could close your eyes and just listen, what instrument is playing in your head?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably the piano.
Piano. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was younger, it would be an orchestra, because I would hear strings all the time in my head.
Yeah. I love the cello.
Oh yeah. Cello.
Yeah. The
melancholy
sound of the cello.
I like my friend, the violinist was on there, Jennifer Walton. She said hi. She's a great violinist. I really like the viola. That's the ugly duckling of the string section. There's Jennifer.
Right there. Yeah, welcome. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
I like all the instruments in the orchestra. There's not one that I don't like.
You know who was watching tonight? Just wanted to say that he thoroughly enjoyed the conversation, and you knocked it out of the park. Mr. George Burns with us tonight.
He didn't make it to 100. What happened?
Didn't he?
I thought he was 99 and a half, because he had an engagement on his 100th birthday.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, he didn't make it. Yes.
And they came out with this around that time. My aunt collected these, collected all kinds of dolls, and this got passed down to me. So we incorporated him into the Jim Master Show live. And there he is.
Remember, I have to say,
he played God too.
Oh God, Part 2 is one of my favorite rock and roll movies. You have to watch it. It's so cheesy.
You didn't do accordion in that, did you?
No, I didn't do an accordion in that, but it's about rock and roll, and it's just so cheesy. It's great.
Yeah.
And number 1, of course, was great with what's his name? John Denver.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was a good one too.
That's right.
But number 2 about rock, it's a rock movie. It's kind of like Phantom of the Paradise. Have you ever watched Phantom of the Paradise?
Yes.
Paul Williams movie? Yes.
Yes. Cool stuff. Well, this was awesome, my friend. We chatted for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Could you imagine?
I get talking. I want to say thank you for Toby. She's the biggest fan of everybody. She's the biggest helper of everybody in Los Angeles area. She's just she's an inspiration to all of us. Toby's just amazing. So thank you, Toby. And thank you, Jim.
My pleasure. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had.
Yeah, I can't believe that I can yak for this long. My wife will go, "Don't talk so much." That's what she said.
Well,
like
you felt comfortable. It was a comfortable, safe spot, and I hope that you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, Phil.
I did very much. I hope we can chat again someday.
Oh, it was a real pleasure. Real pleasure. Are you going to have dinner now?
I am going to have dinner now. Yes.
Now this is a foodie crowd. What are you going to have?
That I don't know. My wife is a great cook, so it could be anything. She cooked this great turkey breast with sausage inside, kind of like we have our little Thanksgiving, every once in a while.
Yes.
Yes. So I'll have some of that.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to you, and thanks for playing live for us as well. And thanks for spending the time, and again, all the great music over the years too. And we look forward to keeping that porch light on for you, my friend. You're welcome back. And like they all do, spread the word about our show, the Jim Master Show Live. We would love that. I will. All right. Well, have a good night. If you're ever back east, or I'm back, I'm west doing a TV shoot or something, let's connect and break bread. That'd be great. Love to do that. That would be fantastic.
Well, thanks for
Good
having
stuff.
me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. You take care, Phil. Now go stretch the legs, like I tell all the guests. Get the circulation going. It
I
didn't
shall.
feel like 2 hours and 15 minutes, did it?
No, I didn't. It
Ah,
didn't.
everybody
Yeah,
says that, which is cool.
it's good.
You have a
Well,
good.
well, that's because you're so good, man.
I appreciate that.
Uh,
I appreciate that. You
Well, he
you
was 100. Someone
yeah,
corrected me on George
Merlin
Burns. Yes.
Was 100 when he
Yeah.
died.
Okay.
I think that's when they came out with the doll. Thank you,
Yeah.
Phil has been great. Sherry Larson, and that's Merlin in Canada. Sherry Larson, thank you for joining us, Phil. Really enjoyed it. She is in Kansas. Toby, of course, awesome. Thank
Yes.
you, Phil. You are the best.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
Dana, thank you for taking my question. You're very welcome, Dana. Thank you for being with us. Mary in Florida, thanks for the great conversation, playing some songs. Good luck in the future. Phil as well, and everybody else that's chiming in here. You take care again, and let's stay in touch. This was awesome.
All right. See you
All
next
right,
time.
Phil. And Amy says, who's a poet? You said you miss poetry. She's a poet. Great
Yes.
show, guys.
Ah,
Thumbs up
okay.
from Poet Amy. Good stuff. Take care, Phil. It was great.
See you later.
again. All right. Bye-bye. All right. We sort of fade to black. That's technology, right? Well, actually, we don't fade to black. He just disappears. Just like we don't use a cane or anything. We don't go, that's stage. Good stuff, gang. Thanks for joining us. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And we have 2 shows tomorrow. Wow, I'm on the air on the radio all day, and then we have a show at 3 p.m. Eastern live, and then we have another show at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can see it all on YouTube. 3 p.m. we have Anton Glacken. He is an incredible Irish singer and songwriter who's going to be with us live from Ireland. He's going to play live. He's got a country music bent to him. He's very popular. He's going to be with us at a special early time. We're doing it at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, because in Ireland, it'll be 8 o'clock at night. So for his family and friends and folks in the UK and Ireland to watch, and parts of Europe, we are actually doing a show earlier than we normally would. We're doing it 3 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and we're looking forward to that. So 2 shows tomorrow, which is Thursday, 3 Eastern with Anton Glacken, amazing Irish singer-songwriter. And then coming up tomorrow night, soap opera icon Stephen Schnetzer. Now, you know him if you're into the soap operas. He played for years the very popular character Cass Winthrop on Another World on NBC. He was also on As the World Turns, Guiding Light, Days of Our Lives, but that long stretch for years on NBC's soap opera, Another World. He's also starring in a fantastic new film, A Case of Blue, and he's very proud of it, and he's very excited about it. We're going to talk about it as it's debuting this month. So it's going to be really, really cool. Stephen's going to be with us here on the show, and we're really, really looking forward to it. Go down memory lane with all the shows he's been involved in, including all those iconic soap operas, but also talk about A Case of Blue, which is this fantastic new film that he is starring in, and he's very excited about it. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, when Stephen will be on the Jim Masters Show live. So 2 shows tomorrow. Join us if you can. If you can't, then of course, all of it will be available in the archives on our YouTube channel. We archive all the episodes. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a thumbs up. We would really, really love that. That really helps us. When you give us a thumbs up, you see that little thumbs up icon on our YouTube channel underneath this episode. Give it a thumbs up and leave a comment on the actual YouTube channel for us. Why? Because when you do that, YouTube sees that, and then they take the episode and they blast it out even further to millions of people around the world. We have a lot of people watching right now who watch live, who comment, but also those who are watching later on. They might watch this 2 hours from now, 7 hours from now, 3 years from now. Whatever it is, we thank you so much for watching and being a part of the Jim Masters Show live experience. Levity is what it is, and we have a good time here on our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. And everybody's welcome. Doesn't matter your background, your political views, religious views, your height, weight, income, eye color, zip code. Everybody's welcome to join the fun here on the Jim Masters Show live. Toby says, wowee. Amy says, great show, guys. Dana, he says from Canada, what a show. Thank you very much. Or as Ed Sullivan would have said, what a shoe. Thanks, Dana. Always great when you're here. Amy, hope you are safe from bad weather. We are great. Yeah, here in the Northeast, there was a nor'easter that came through the area. We are good. We lost power maybe for 10 minutes yesterday morning. That's about it. We're in a good spot here and fared well. Good to see you, Amy. And Mary Bishop, fun show. Thanks, Jim. Good night, everyone. Good to see you in Florida, Mary. And Kathleen Walker, thanks, Jim. Great show. Now you guys are going to watch Titanic, and you're going to look for the accordion player, right? And you're going to see him. And all these other shows, if you remember what we were saying earlier, the TV shows, you can see him in the TV shows Happily Divorced, The New Girl, Transparent, Lethal Weapon, and Barry as well. He was the accordion player in Titanic. That's right. His memorable scene is in the lower docks when Kate and Leo are dancing. His work has also been featured on the soundtrack to the Oscar-winning film The Shape of Water and the comedies Pitch Perfect 3 and War with Grandpa. That's right. And as we mentioned as well, too, he's with the Kiefer Sutherland band. You know, Kiefer, of course, a fantastic actor, the son of Donald Sutherland, another great actor, who has one of the greatest speaking voices. You ever hear him, Donald Sutherland, when he did those Volvo commercials? Talk about seduction about a car. Donald Sutherland has one of those great voiceover voices, a great, of course, actor. Good stuff. And yes, Toby, yeah, you're talking about some more great guests. Feel free. Yeah, if you guys have ideas for more great guests, you know, we have guests that come in not just from music, from all aspects of life, television, Broadway, music, Hollywood, comedy, sports, inspiration, psychics, you know, everything. And we're putting together one of our famous pop-up shows soon too. That's where you and I chat, host and lovely viewers chat about life and a lot of cool things that are going on. So stay tuned for that. And we're doing a Halloween show. Yes, a Halloween show that is coming up on Saturday night, a special Halloween costume party show for all of you. So join us Saturday night. We also have another fantastic, we've got American stage, television, and film actress. She was in The L Word, Beverly Hills 90210. She played in, performed in Hairspray. Susan Mosher is going to be with us on Saturday afternoon. Just Google her name. You'll see all that she's been involved in, 3 p.m. Eastern. And then we're doing a Halloween show coming up on Saturday night. Yes, Donald Sutherland, a great voice, kind of like Morgan Freeman, another one, and James Earl Jones, those real great voices. And yes, Dana, thank you very much. We are blessed to have been here for this yet another epic night. Thank you, Dana, in Canada. And Sherry says, thank you, Jim, for another wonderful show. My pleasure. The pleasure is all mine. And it's about 10:25 p.m. here, and I still have to eat dinner too. It's been one of those busy days. Merlin says, good night, Jim, and all lovelies. And hey, Fortnite is here. Fortnite Gaming, Fortnite 378. He goes, maybe, but he's got school. So the afternoon show, you probably have school with our afternoon show tomorrow, but maybe you'll catch the 8 o'clock show at night. Say hi to your mom, the wonderful violinist, Diane DeLynn, who was a guest on our show as well. Another great show, sir. Dana, thank you very much. Toby enjoyed. Thank you very much. And everybody else, Juanita, great show, Jim. Thank you very much. Juanita watching in South Africa. Kathleen in New York City. And Juanita, Moy Loop. Remember Moy Loop? Walk well in African. Kathleen Walker says, have a great night. Good night all to you as well. You're looking forward to tomorrow. Yeah, 2 shows tomorrow, Merlin. It's what we call double levity when we do more than one show in one day. We're squeezing the afternoon show in again because the Irish artist Anton is in Ireland, so we didn't want it too late for him. Good stuff. You have a test tomorrow, Fortnite 378. Well, Fortnite, good luck with the test. You got a lot of levity coming your way from the JMS family here. Good luck with your test from all of us here. You will knock it out of the park. George Burns over here says you'll knock it out of the park. And Christine says, good night, Jim. And all, you are watching quietly, which is nice to do. Watch quietly, sit back, relax. And really interesting show with Phil tonight. Quite a career, and it continues. See everyone later. Absolutely. Consider Zoom one night at Jim Masters TV. Well, we don't do Zoom, but we do pop-up shows. I don't know if you've seen our pop-up shows. We actually do a pop-up show where the audience actually can comment during the show, and we're going back and forth. But I think you're talking about maybe having viewers actually on the show. Actually, we've had Kathleen Walker has been a guest on our show. And June Rachelson Aspa, who's a wonderful dear friend. Kathleen's a friend, and so is June. June's a lyricist, a lot of Broadway and so much more. She was a guest on our show. So some of our viewers have been guests as well, but maybe doing something like that as well. Maury Loop from Juanita. Dana, take a moment and know you have touched hearts everywhere. Know that. Dana, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very beautiful that you say that. That's what we aim to do. Kathleen says, love the pop-up host chat shows as well. I know we're overdue for one of those. And look who's popping in. Hey, 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 it's Be Happy. Isn't it? Be Happy came in towards the latter part of one of the other shows earlier in the week, and it was fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, how do you not smile when you see that photo or that, profile photo, and you see all those smiley faces, and, their handle is Be Happy, and with the smiley face and hey, 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 be happy. That tops it all, right? We got levity, we got Be Happy here. It's really, really cool. And Merlin says, I don't want to Zoom. Well, I think we can see Toby there. Yeah, there's Toby. See, if you look at the screen, you can see Toby there. You can see Juanita. Kathleen is there. Merlin is an M. Although Merlin sometimes has had, I think, Merlin, you did have a photo on yours, right? I think we can see Christine. There's Christine there as well. Some folks do have their, and there's Sherry Larson and Jen Barry. They're the photos, the great photos of our Lovelies squad here. Yeah. Let's see if we see some others, or see if I don't know how far back we can scroll because there's so many messages. It's sort of, Jennifer, who joined us. She says, amazing chat. Thank you for Jennifer. We should have you come on the show too as a guest. That'd be wonderful. And of course, Marty Thompson, who did super chat twice, which we thank. And there is Marty with Babette. Marty was on our show as well. And Babette. We thank Marty for his levity tonight. He did it actually twice. Thank you, Marty. Really, really extra special. That's super chat. You can do that during the live show. It helps support the series as we are doing it. All right. So I think that's as far back as we can scroll. Jane, actually, I think we got Jane in there too. Jane said that Phil has a lovely voice. There's Jane from Sweden. You see her there in the shot. Yeah, cool stuff. All right, gang, we're going to wrap. And what another cool name, Unknown Anonymous 57. So we have Be Happy, which that's one of the ultimate. I mean, there's Be Happy's smile. So how do you top that? And then Unknown Anonymous 57. Great show tonight. Jim, thank you very much. Unknown Anonymous 57. We appreciate that. That's really, really cool. And no pics so far from Merlin, she says. And yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm surrounded with a lot of people who really love this series and love the Jim Master Show Live, because what we do is something different. It isn't just like interviews. This is a whole show with all of you and entertainment and lifestyle variety talk show series. It's really something special and something cool. And having all of you here really makes it extra special. So know that you're valued, whether you're watching live right now and commenting, or you are just watching quietly, or you're watching this later in the archives. We thank Phil for joining us. Got to end. We started with that epic photo, and we got to end with that epic photo. And those of you asking about Dan White, November 16th, Dan White, will be joining us November 16th. He is starring in General Hospital as Elijah Crow. You can see him on General Hospital as Elijah Crow. He also played O.J. Simpson in a Law and Order series. He was in the Menendez murders. He's just Clarence. He does voiceovers for video games, Minecraft, and so much more. Dan is going to be with us on November 16th. And also Connor McGinty, who you know, Irish singer-songwriter, he's going to be joining us as well very soon. We're just firming up the date to have Connor's return. He's going to be back with us. Hey, everybody, help us grow. Share the levity. Tell everybody you know about the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. If you like this episode, just click like and leave a comment for us. And don't forget to subscribe to Jim Masters TV. That is our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We would absolutely love that. That means the world to us as well. And you are watching Jim Masters TV, the YouTube channel dedicated to entertaining, informing, educating, and inspiring. Gang, we always say, don't forget to smile. Don't forget to share the levity. Don't forget to find your Zen place. Mine, of course, is with loving family and friends, and everything else I love. And, of course, the ocean, which has been a little angry the last couple of days with the nor'easter. But the ocean is my place. Swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing, just being near it. And my work in television, radio, stage, and film over the years is also Zen for me as well. Being here with all of you is another Zen place. Jen Barry, she still loves her mountains. That's right. Yes. Dan is on November 16th. I know you're all excited, Lisa, as am I. Jane, this is the best show with the best host. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Be Happy says it all. Don't forget to smile. You got it, Be Happy. Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you for that comment, Jane. And Dana agrees with you. So I like that. Some levity coming your way. Merlin's going to try to work on her picture. Good stuff. Gang, you're the best. Thanks for being with us on this episode of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. You guys mean the world to all of us. We appreciate your being with us. 2 shows tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Again, for those of you that are watching live, and don't forget to subscribe, of course, to Jim Masters TV. For those of you that are watching live, we'll be here Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, and then again, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, with Double Levity, 2 episodes coming your way. Busy, busy day. Oh, Kathleen, super sticker. Thank you very much. Again, that is really cool. You got the red. Marty had the green. You've got the red. That is perfect. And I appreciate that. That's super sticker, the super chat, super emojis. You can do that during the live show. That helps support all the work and time and effort and equipment and everything that goes into this monster broadcast. 2 hours and 32 minutes with nothing but levity. Thank you, Kathleen, in New York City, for the super chat. You're the best. Take care, gang. We love you all. Thanks for being with us. And Lisa says, woohoo, tomorrow will be epic too, as usual. Absolutely. 2 shows, one from Ireland and one from the USA with our international audience. It's going to be a blast. We'll see you then. If not, you can see it all saved for you and for your enjoyment in our archives right here on Jim Masters TV on YouTube. Be well, gang. Thanks for all the time you've spent with us on this episode. We thank Phil as well, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. All right. Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, right here on the Jim Masters Show Live. Cheers.